Operation Delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
Don't watch TV. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal.
More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. Think for yourself. Question authority.
This code has been compromised.
All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. We still don't have the audio's issues fixed. I do believe it's my time to speak. Again, it is a little bit challenging over here because we're broadcasting on TFR, but there's some glitch in the interface for what we hear on the output end, and trying to time where the music and the breaks are is a little bit challenging. But again, we will do our best, and lots to talk about tonight. It is November 8th, 2023. 7 years ago today was the 2016 election, which was called in the early hours of November 9th, the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, the wall that Ronald Reagan said, tear down Mr. Gorbachev. And then, of course, Donald Trump, who wanted to build a wall, was called president-elect on that day. Of course, like so many days since he announced in 2015, he's front and center. Today, his daughter, Ivanka, actually, her birth name is actually Ivana, but she goes by Ivanka. She has the same birth name as her mother. Ivanka took the stand today in the latest Trump trial. And we're going to look at the parallels between her taking the stand today and the death of her mother, which was last year, July 14th, 2022. She supposedly fell down the stairs, just like how Trump and his ex-wife, who's now dead, have the magazine cover together on the spiral staircase. Keep in mind, Donald Trump's 77 years old right now. Him and Ivana Trump were married in 1977, meaning she did die 45 years after their marriage. And, of course, he was number 45, and he was called the 45th president-elect on November 9th. Again, the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. And again, in Gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words, Berlin Wall equates to 45. So let's go over the parallels between her taking the stand today and the passing of her mother last summer. Today's Ivanka's 9th day of her age. Her birthday is October 30th, the day before Halloween. And that makes today 9 days after her birthday, November 8th. And the relationship with 45 and 9 is that if you add 1 through 9 together, 45 is the 9th triangular number. If you add 1 through 9 together, it equals 45. 45, the 9th triangular number. Donald Trump had that ad for Serta mattresses talking to digital sheep on pillars. One sheep had the number 11 on the side, the other had the number 9. And he was wearing the same suit and tie in that Serta ad where he was called president-elect. But at the end of that ad, he's talking to the sheep with the 9 on it, and he says, looking good, number 9, looking good. Only for him to become the 45th president. Now here we are all these years later, and 9 days after Ivanka's birthday. So today's 147 days after Donald Trump's birthday. He's got that June 14th birthday, 147 days. And remember, when his wife fell down the stairs, it was the 14th of July. It was the 14th day of the 7th month, 147. And as we've talked about so many times, the White House, where the president resides, it has 147 windows. You can look that up right on the government website, 147 windows on the White House. It's interesting because President of the United States has gematria of 147. The big way, the shortened phrase U.S. President also equals 147. Again, the White House is in D.C., named after George Washington, the Freemason. D.C. is known as the Masonic City. The word Freemason has a gematria of 147. And again, this ritual with his daughter, 147 days after his birthday, after the mother died last year, clearly in tribute to him being the 45th president on 14/7. And again, she died exactly 60 weeks into the first ever Jesuit Ignatian year. Donald Trump, Jesuit, educated at Fordham. The upcoming election is the 60th presidential election. In light of the Freemason connection with the 147, today is the 7th anniversary of the 2016 election. 2023, 7 years earlier. The G, the Freemason logo, the capital G. G is the 7th letter. And again, the word ritual also has this gematria 45. That's essentially what's being done day after day with these stories. They're rituals to make people take sides, to invest in one side of the system, the red side, the blue side. And at the end of the day, all this ritualism provides some sort of idea that there's some sort of legitimacy to government and a reason that you should take a side and invest in one side. Some people see Trump as a freedom fighter. Others see him as this criminal tyrant who needs to be put to rest. And this is the exact show they want, as they bring society to a fever pitch of division, from politics to everything else, including sexuality. But with regards to Ivanka, I want to go back to an older post, something we were talking about when Trump was in office. People know about the Simpsons predictive programming, how Donald Trump becomes president in The Simpsons, and then after he's done, Lisa Simpson becomes the first female president. We've talked about how there's another episode of The Simpsons where Ivanka Trump is running for president in 2028. And that's interesting because that's the year she'll turn 47 years old in 2028. She's 42 right now, so this time 5 years from now, she'll be 47 about election time. And gematria, again, there are 4 base ciphers in the English language: the alphabetic order with numerology, the reverse alphabetic order with numerology. Lisa Simpson and Ivanka Trump are the exact same in all 4 ciphers. In the cipher that's the most pure, they both equate to 47, just like the word president, White House, government, authority, Republican, Democrat, the big 47. Again, in 2028, there's a Simpsons episode where Ivanka's running for president in 2028. That's the year she'll be 47 in election time. But Lisa Simpson and Ivanka Trump are also 70. Donald Trump took office at age 70 back in 2017. Lisa Simpson and Ivanka Trump are also 146. That's a lot like Trump's birthday. His birthday is the 14th day of the 6th month, the 14th of June, the flag's birthday. And then Lisa Simpson and Ivanka Trump are both also 151. Again, those are the 4 base ciphers: 47, 70, 146, 151. The 146, 151 thing connects with the name Jesus Christ. Again, the Jesuits who've encoded the calendar, the language, the Society of Jesus. Donald Trump, Jesuit educated. There's probably something more to that, but that's the main observation I make thinking about those numbers being paired together. Who's behind the ritual? And again, in gematria, president, White House, government, authority, Trump, Republican, Democrat, the name Trump itself, they all equal 47. So we'll have to see where Ivanka is on the world stage by 2028. We know the Boondocks gave us the clue about the first black female president in the 2020 election many years before it happened. And it didn't exactly happen, right? But we got the first black female in the White House through Kamala Harris in the 2020 election. And then Amazon put out a show shortly after with Oprah and Kamala running together in 2024. But yeah, a lot of times the predictive programming, it's not exactly what happens, but it's something along the lines. And it remains to be seen. Again, we put out the prediction as Kamala and Biden took the White House for why June 1st, 2024, maybe June 2nd, 2024, right around that time, we very well could see Kamala replace Joe Biden as president of the United States. Go back and watch that broadcast from right after this administration began and why we said it was those dates. It follows a very familiar pattern. But yeah, there's more that could be said about this. It's just that there's a thin line between what we consider reality and news and entertainment and fiction. And as we're showing, the cabal, they control both sides of it, the entertainment, the politics, the news, and that's why there is so much accurate predictive programming and so many perfect rituals, so much ritualism. I guess just to remind, in the Simpsons cartoon, Lisa Simpson wears purple when she's president. And you might recall how Donald Trump in 2016, he came out to Queen, We Are the Champions at his convention in Cleveland. Again, in the next election, he's trying to do what nobody's done since Grover Cleveland. Grover Cleveland is the only president to do it, to have a split term. And in Gematria, Cleveland equals 78. Trump will be 78 at the time of next year's election. Trump relates to the tarot cards, the Trump card, the card that tops them all. There's 78 cards in the tarot deck. But back in 2016 in Cleveland, Trump came out to Queen, We Are the Champions, exactly 88 days after Queen Elizabeth's April 21st birthday. And that was on July 18th, 2016. But both Elizabeth and Purple have that Gematria of 88. In the episode where Lisa's president's called Bart to the Future, which is also 88 like Trump and Purple. Again, Lisa's wearing purple. And you might recall that when Hillary Clinton came out to concede to Donald Trump in the early hours of November 9th, she came out with Bill Clinton. Bill was wearing a purple tie. And I'm not good with my ladies' fashion, but maybe her blouse. Is that a blouse? Hillary came out with a purple blouse. I think I got the right word. But it's a little bit different than the... Anyhow, they came out in purple to concede to Trump when we've been talking about the rituals with royalty and the Queen in 88 and how... Again, everything. But yeah, here we are all these years later. The ritualism continues on. And it just goes to show, if you really think about it, like we were saying the whole time, these people are born and bred for this. For all these things to just line up so perfect. It's like their lives were a bunch of chess moves planned out over a series of years. They had to have this birthday for it to line up this way. And again, you can speculate on how they're achieving it, but one way or another they are, and we see it unfold day after day, ritual after ritual. By the way, just with regards to purple, if you want to do a little research in history, back in the time of Prohibition, remember Prohibition ended in 33, like alcohol equals 33. But if you want to do some research, look up this thing called the Purple Gang from the time of Prohibition. Can't talk about it these days. They'd say it's anti-Semitic, even though it's part of history. Okay, also, we've been watching Michael Jordan, and we are wondering what might happen around November 3rd of this year, 2023, once the NBA put out their schedule this past summer, because we noticed on that day, which is a big day in NBA history, it's the day Kobe Bryant made his NBA debut in 96, and not by accident. The date, November 3rd, 113, it's a number that's special to Kobe, it's a number that's special to Michael Jordan, the NBA. And we saw that day, Brooklyn, where Michael Jordan's from, was playing his Chicago Bulls. And we wondered what might happen when that day came up. Well, again, Michael Jordan, who became a celebrity around the same time as Donald Trump in the mid-'80s. He is 60 years old right now. And again, that number's been so fateful for basketball legends, from Kobe to Moses Malone to Daryl Dawkins to others. Well, Bobby Knight died this year on November 1st. Famous college basketball coach, the last college coach to beat Michael Jordan. And he died November 1st, the day leaving 60 days left in the year. He's 5th all-time in wins in college basketball as a head coach. He died 5 days before the start of the college basketball season. And he died at age 83 as well. As we know, murder equals 83. You might recall Kobe's death had a lot to do with 83. He died in a helicopter crash, which equals 83, synced up with the Pope. And it goes back to 1983, the year Moses Malone won the finals for Philly, Kobe's hometown. But the same group of numbers, the way they come together. So anyway, Jordan is 60. The last coach to beat him in college basketball dies this year at age 83. Keep in mind, 83 is the 23rd prime number. Here we are in 2023. Jordan wore 23. Bobby Knight, the last coach to beat Jordan in college, dead to start the month. Right before this game with Brooklyn and Chicago. So then what happens the very next day, November 2nd? Who dies the next day? Bobby Knight, basketball legend, dead. Next day, Walter Davis. Walter Davis, who Michael Jordan said he modeled his game after. Walter Davis, 69 years old right now. North Carolina star like Jordan, dies in Charlotte. The next day, November 2nd, which is the day leaving 59 days left in the year. Remember, Michael Jordan has that Gematria 59. Special number in Black History. Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year. Motown in 59. Words like slave, Negro, blues, Rasta, all equal 59. Obama's Secret Service name, Renegade, 59, and so on. But this was the day leaving 59 days left in the year that Michael Jordan, the guy who he modeled his game after, passes. And again, if you didn't know that about Jordan and Walter Davis, definitely look into it. Jordan says he learned his mid-range game from Walter Davis, the pump fake. That's who he modeled his game after. Older star player from North Carolina. Big basketball star when Jordan was playing at UNC. So in back-to-back days, deaths of men who have clear parallels to Jordan, right? And then, again, November 3rd, the NBA, it's at Jordan's hometown playing Chicago. And as we always talk about, when these NBA legends die, it's like their deaths, it's like their time's up, and the next guy's up and coming, or he's in the middle of his career right now. Walter Davis made his name with the Phoenix Suns. The biggest star on the Suns right now is 35-year-old Kevin Durant, who's worn the number 35 for his career in tribute to his high school coach who died at age 35. And Walter Davis dies on the 35th day of Kevin Durant being 35 years old. And again, in Gematria, Suns equals 35, the team Kevin Durant plays for. We always talk about how Thursday equals 35. A lot of big rituals with 35 on Thursdays. We call it 35 Thursday. Walter Davis dead in this ritual on a Thursday. And remember the words Catholic, Holy See, Jesuitism, Europe, they all have that Gematria 35. When you think basketball, college basketball, again, the first March Madness was in 85, and it was the Catholic school Villanova over the Jesuit school Georgetown. Jesuit order has that Gematria 54 like Greyhound. That was Walter Davis's nickname, the Greyhound. He died 54 days after his own birthday. But, and that's right, his nephew, Walter Davis, is coaching UNC right now, Hubert Davis, who also played for the Bulls in his career. So, R.I.P. to these people, and again, the ritualism of it all, the way it unfolds, season after season. So we'll continue to watch Jordan. Sometimes these guys, their time's not exactly up yet, but the people around them, just like we're talking about now, drop dead. The year the Super Bowl was in Minnesota. Remember, Minnesota hosted Super Bowl 52. Minnesota equals 52 in Gematria. That year, we worried about Bob Dylan, the big star from Minnesota. It was shortly after Prince's death, who was from Minnesota. And Bob Dylan still lives, but at the time we were looking at that, in the weeks leading up to the Super Bowl, all these people connected to Bob Dylan just started dropping dead. There were like 3 within days of each other. His ex, his biographer, somebody from another music project of his, maybe a former producer, I forget who it was, but all these Bob Dylan death headlines right as the Super Bowl came into Minnesota. And again, Bob Dylan, the same Bob Dylan who told Ed Bradley on 60 Minutes that he would have never made it in this world of show business if he hadn't sold his soul. And he made it quite clear that, you sell it to Satan. That's who you'd sell it to, Ed, if you want to make it in this world, showbiz. And with regards to 35, it is a number that shows up in suspicious deaths in entertainment more often than not as well, sadly. And Satan also has that Gematria 35, as does Baphomet. And then the whole Baphomet thing connects back with the Templars, who were burned at the stake, who were the military order of the Catholic Church. But, yeah, just on the topic of 35, you might also saw that child actor Evan Ellingson passed away this week at age 35. They're saying likely from an OD, an overdose. OD has that Gematria 35. But the thing is, he was known for playing the child of the actress Cameron Diaz, and he died 67 days after Cameron Diaz's birthday. His name in Gematria, Evan Ellingson, equals 67, just like blood sacrifice, like human sacrifice, like satanic. Satanic 67, Satan 35, dead at 35 in this ritual. Show business. Always so deadly. Okay, just moving through the headlines. Oh, hold on. I just realized there was something I was supposed to say about the Ivana Trump passing, and I spaced it. Ivana Trump's passing and also her daughter's appearance in court today, as all part of this narrative in the upcoming 60th presidential election. This was the piece that I meant to say a moment ago. And from Ivana Trump's burial, she died July 14th, 2022. She was buried 6 days later on July 20th. Again, that's the 201st day of the year. As we know, the Jesuit Order is 201, Order of Illuminati is 201, very special number tied to the deaths of Joe Biden's wife, daughter, and son. And again, both Jesuit-educated men. But that burial on the 201st day of the year, from that day to today, to her daughter appearing in court in a legal matter concerning her father, it's exactly 68 weeks later. 68 weeks. And we always go back to that year, 1968, and how important it was in history, all the agendas that went into motion. But remember, in Gematria, Donald John Trump equals 68. So does mathematics. So does solar system. So does Catholicism. So does Helios. And if you're having trouble putting that list together, connecting the dots, I'm going to make it all make sense here. But this list is 68. Again, one more time. Donald John Trump, mathematics, solar system, Catholicism, Helios. All of those things are 68. Now remember, these things are 201. Heliocentrism is 201. Heliocentrism. Helios is the sun. The Jesuit Order 201. Order of Illuminati 201. Great Pyramid of Giza 201. Again, the Jesuits formed the Illuminati. The Illuminati uses the pyramid as their symbol. The pyramid is synced up with what's happening in the skies. In the 16th century, the Jesuits were created, and in the decades after their creation, the Gregorian calendar rolled out. English was standardized with the 26-letter alphabet. And again, the heliocentric model was agreed to, that says the sun is the center of the universe. Now we have the Catholic Church that began as the sun-worshiping cult. We're on their calendar. We're essentially speaking their language. This system's been put in place, again, based on, the knowledge of ancestors and what the Templars brought back to the church after the Crusades. Again, these systems and ideas existed way before the Catholic Church, but you can see how it's been incorporated and turned into their system. But again, think about it. Buried on the 201st day of the year, exactly 68 weeks later, the daughter in court in regards to the father. Again, Donald John Trump, mathematics, solar system, Catholicism, Helios. All 68. Heliocentrism 201. I mean, I gotta double check something with the Gematria heliocentrism real quick. I know it also equals 75, like how old the 201 nation is right now, Israel, as they're having all their rituals unfold by the numbers, and how Israel waited till Sunday to declare the war. Okay. Yeah, so the 68-201 is the main piece that I want to make the point about. And yeah, it's amazing how this theater, how perfectly put together it is, and just how it captivates people and how people cannot see through it. By the way, another recent 201, Antony Blinken. We talked about how what popped off in Israel, how it was perfectly synced with Blinken. Well, if you missed it, November 3rd was 201 days after his birthday, and he was that weekend he was all over in the Middle East starting on November 3rd. But on November 3rd, he warned that Israel, if they don't stop what they're doing in Gaza, which is destroying living conditions, which have already been rough enough to live in for a very long period of time. I mean, I don't know where the very worst place to live in the world is because I don't know the whole world, but I mean, Gaza's got to be one of the worst places in the world to live. Violence, destruction, cut off from so many things. It's like if you live there, you can only go so far out on the water.
Put your goals in your journal.
Hold on.
Because one of the major people. Everybody hopes things will get better. Poor people's hope, that ought to tell you something. It means the future does not get better by hope. It gets better by plan. So get serious about your goals, put them on paper, write them down. There's all kinds, business goals, financial independence goals, family goals. I mean, there's so many things to work on this, that if you don't get busy and work on it, sure enough, the time will pass. And sure enough, 5 years from now, you will wind up where you don't want to be, wearing what you don't want to wear, driving what you don't want to drive, being what you don't want to be. Now's the time.
Extendivite is more than just a heart tonic. Do you have any of these symptoms? Night cramps in the hands and feet. Your arms and legs often go to sleep. On short walks, do your legs get aches and pains? Is your memory worse than it used to be? Ankles that swell late in the day? Has your blood pressure increased lately? If you answered yes to even one of these questions, you may have early warning signs of arterial blockages. Your body is saying that it is time to take Extendivite. These are not the normal signs of aging. They are the warning signs that accompany blocked arteries. Get your Extendivite today. Extendivite is available in capsule or liquid form for just $69.95 for a 2-month supply. To get started, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extend.
Greetings, Earth Explorers. My name is Brooks Agnew, and I am your host on X Squared Radio every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Truth Frequency Radio Network. This is where the past meets the future. We explore the mysteries of the universe and of the Earth. We might go a little past your imagination, but have no fear. You will be safely traveling with us. We will dissolve the propaganda of dangerous people with dangerous plans for the planet. We will discuss the latest technologies and challenges for humankind. We will discover the safest place for you to stand when the thinkings and doings of mankind come flying apart, and how you can be one of the people that helps put it back together. Join us.
Real people, real radio. Wherever you are, it's TFR. Truth Frequency Radio. Sincere.
All right, I think the music is done. Okay, to get through a few more headlines, then we'll take your calls. Again, Antony Blinken said that if something is not reversed, what's taking place in between Israel and Gaza, it could destroy the possibility of peace in the future. But he made these remarks 201 days after his birthday. And again, we know that what's unfolding in Israel is biblical. And again, in Gematria, the Holy Bible equals 201, like State of Israel equals 201, like the Jesuit order equals 201. Again, like how Netanyahu left his position as prime minister in a 201 ritual and then returned in a 201 ritual. And David Ben-Gurion once died 201 days after the anniversary of Israel's establishment. But again, this is ritualism. They're using the divisions of the world, the places that they know they can fracture humanity. They use the code ritualistically over and over in all these different ways to keep people fighting amongst themselves. And again, it's just, I guess, just to like paint a related but different picture, because humanity does not know how to cooperate. It makes us like more useful to the ruling cabal that controls through money and financial systems and consumerism. It's just like, imagine if in a neighborhood people could rely on their neighbors and know that if they loan somebody something, it'll come back in good shape, or they'll even get it back. I mean, we live in a world where, like, you help somebody out, you'll probably end up with 10 more problems. For some reason, the world's that way. There's not a lot of givers and there's a lot of takers. But I mean, just like if people knew how to cooperate and work together, the world would be so much easier for everybody, be so much safer and better. And anyway, it's because like we're so broken and we don't know how to function, help each other. It's like we all have to end up spending more money. Everybody has to have their own lawnmower and their own edger and you know what I mean? It's just like, instead of sharing and being community. And I mean, imagine a neighborhood of 50 homes. If there's 5 lawnmowers and everybody knows how to share and take care of it and let the next person use it when they need to, I mean, 5 lawnmowers is probably sufficient for the whole neighborhood. But instead, there's 50 lawnmowers. There's one for every house because nobody knows that they can count on anybody else. So, yeah, kind of a weird comparison, but really, if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense too. We do not know how to work together. We were not really taught how to cooperate in school. We were taught how to compete and be number one and get the scholarship or get the spot or whatever it is. And you just see it. I mean, humanity has so much trouble cooperating. And for anyone who would attack me, again, I just always remind you, I've helped build up a lot of people and done a lot of positive things for a lot of people. There's a lot of people who've tried, who I've also helped out, who've then like tried to use my name to build themselves up even higher. Like, it's like, okay, so I help you out and then you use me as like a foot ramp? Come on. But anyway, we're not even going down that road. In other news, this is the new thing for these pharmaceutical companies to rebrand their drugs for a new purpose as weight loss. And now today, the FDA approves Eli Lilly's diabetes drug, which was known as Mounjaro, if I'm saying that right. It was for obesity. It was being used for diabetes, but now it's rebranded under the new name Zepbound, and it's meant to treat weight loss or obesity. So, and again, I mean, it's just, it's crazy how fast the world can change. I mean, it's amazing how many obese people there are now. And it goes to show it's a society that's not moving around as much, not as social, a lot of sitting, a lot of time and life spent in front of screens. And yeah, it's sad, but now the FDA allowing these companies to repurpose drugs to target weight loss. And I noticed in the news today, they said you take this drug for 72 weeks. Once it's prescribed, you take it for 72 weeks. And that just reminds me, again, 72 is a special number, 72 names of God in Kabbalah, 72 demons in the Goetia. Again, Joe Biden lost his wife and daughter in 72, and then his son when he was 72 years old, and the list goes on and on and on. It's not the nicest number historically, but mentalism. Again, I mean, is it even true that you need to take the mentalism, hermeticism, the 7 hermetic principles? Pretty much the most important one is mentalism. All is mental. All is the mind. And when it comes to drugs, people understand that. That's why they have to do the experiment with placebo, because people think if they're taking something that'll make them better, they get better, and then they give credit to the drug. It was really the drug that like sparked this hope and possibility that fueled their body to recover. It wasn't even the drug, it was the placebo effect. So the fact that we're aware of that, and that's a part of the actual medical study for any drug, you know, the placebo experiments, it shows you the power of mentalism. And we know that the Cabal is very much number oriented, and they're putting the same types of numbers on so many of their rituals. And here's the 2 ways I'll put how I look at this drug to you. The fact that they tell you that you take it for 72 weeks, and all numbers are dualistic. So like if you're born in 72 or you go decode your name and you see it equals 72, don't freak out. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing. All these things are dualistic. There's a positive side to every number. There's a dark side. It's just we see the cabal that also runs the pharmaceutical industry, how they do things with the dark side. So I look at the 72 and what industry it is, and I think, And then I also think about how the FDA approved this drug today on November 8th, 118, when we know that number sequence, 118, is a very fateful sequence. And again, it's a number connected to death and homicide. And again, you can only say so much because you don't have freedom of speech on most of these big tech platforms, where we are also streaming today. On TFR, the show will not be deleted, but on these other platforms where it gets put, maybe it will, because I might have just said something that you're just not supposed to say. But again, the pharmaceutical industry, it does have a long history of terrible side effects that do cause death. And sometimes you wonder if these companies knew just how much more deadly their drugs were than they made them out to be. And they did, they kind of wanted to downplay that because there was a lot of profit to be made. All these opioids that have been put out on the market that have destroyed so many lives and led to a lot of deaths. Again, the 2 biggest killers in the country for several of the recent years, as they would report in the headlines, were COVID and fentanyl, 2 things coined or at least COVID was coined in 1968, and fentanyl was approved by the FDA in 1968. So, also, since Eli Lilly, it's their drug that got rebranded and now being used for weight loss, the real epidemic in this country, truly. Today's date numerology is 42, and Eli Lilly equals 42. And a special number. Words like Freemason and Jesuit and Georgetown all have the 42. Georgetown, the first Jesuit university in the U.S., established the same year George Washington took the presidency, 1789. But yeah, that was in the news today. And then with regards to 118 being a fateful sequence, the other 118 date in the year is August 11th. We lost Robin Williams on that day in recent history. 3 years before he died, August 11, 2014, it was Jani Lane of the band Warrant. He died in room 118 on the 11th day of the 8th month at age 47. And the thing about Jani Lane is his birth name was John Kennedy Oswald, right? John Kennedy Oswald. And, of course, Lee Harvey Oswald is responsible in the history books for the death of the killing of John F. Kennedy in Dallas, Texas. Dallas, Texas equals 118. And, their big song Warrant was Cherry Pie. And that album came out September 11th, 1990, which was the day in history that George H.W. Bush gave his speech about a new world order, 11 years to the day of the attack on 9/11 when his son was president. But the George Herbert Walker Bush thing, remember his full name, George Herbert Walker Bush, in Gematria equals 118. and he was a member of Skull and Bones, and he was the 41st president. Skull and Bones equals 41. When you spell out 41 as words, it equals 118. And the word ossuary equals 118. And again, Skull and Bones gets their symbolism from how the Knights Templar would bury their dead in an ossuary with the decomposed, after the body was decomposed in a shallow grave, and the last bones put into the ossuary were the largest bones in the body, the thigh bones crossed with the skull on top. So ossuary 118, George Herbert Walker Bush 118. George Herbert Walker Bush was in Dallas, Texas 118, the day John Kennedy was shot by Oswald. Then John Kennedy Oswald, the rock star, who just happened to have cherry pie, again, come out on the day of Bush's New World Order speech, the exact day he ends up dying, again, on 118 date in the room 118. What are the odds? And remember, from understanding those number sequences, it's how we said that George Herbert Walker Bush would not live past age 94, and he would not live past November 30th. And we were right, because he died on November 30th at age 94. 5 years to the day of the death of Paul Walker, who died in the red Porsche, like the one he gets in the movie The Skulls, about Skull and Bones, that came out right before George W. Bush became president-elect in 2000. Of course, that Skulls movie came out 201 days from Paul Walker's birthday. But one other thing that's interesting is the words on the Warrant album, Warrant Cherry Pie, equal 94, like World Trade Center, which would come down on that day in history 11 years later. Like the age of death that Bush died at, who was a member of Skull and Bones, which is related to the Templars, who served the Roman Catholic Church, and Roman Catholic Church is another 94. And you know how earlier we talked about how Helios equals 68? If you run it in reverse, Helios equals 94, like planet. Helios and planet are both 68 forwards, 94 in reverse. The word Gregorian's also 94, the name of the calendar named after the Pope. But again, I just bring up this point to remind about the World Trade Centers, how construction began in 68, and then they opened on the 94th day of 73, and the words terror equals 68 and 94 as well, and they're forever associated with terrorism and the world changing because of that day. But yeah, so I just wanted to bring up this old example that we've talked about in the past, in light of today being 118 and this drug that I'm sure before long we'll see ads all over TV and cable news. Are you obese? Try, what's it called again? Zepbound or whatever it was. And then they'll read off the 50 side effects that can go wrong, including death, and a real nice voice to some nice little pop beat. Isn't it just so weird when you watch these commercials? It's like, you know, like pictures of beautiful flowers, nice looking people, people eating ice cream cones. It's like, okay, like, is anyone listening to the words they're saying right now? If you get this drug, you can have diarrhea endlessly, bleeding intestinally, death, lack of sleep, feelings of aches and pains. It's like, I mean, don't you just want to do something with your life other than take a pill that can do that to you? How about some hardcore fasting? See what you're made of. I mean, wouldn't that be an awesome story to tell? You know, you just did it naturally. You cut the junk out, you fasted, you exercised. Some people, that's the thing, some people are too big, their feet hurt too much. So if you're in that situation, you got to fast. That's the way to get back, is just not eat and fast. I mean, if you're like 5'4", 300 pounds, like you see people in the grocery store, you're like, oh my God, they're not even that big and they're that wide. I mean, if that's you out there, it looks like a lot of Americans these days, you got to find the power of fasting. You probably don't need to eat for a month. You can probably slim down to 120 pounds if you can just control yourself. So... And control. It's something a lot of people do not have. You got to find it. Also in the news today on 118, recall on Netanyahu's 74th birthday, we had the stabbing of the Jewish woman in Detroit. And again, it was Netanyahu's 74th birthday, and in Gematria, stabbing and killing both equal 74, like how the 74th day of the year is the Ides of March to remember the killing of Caesar. But we saw how this woman was connected to the Attorney General there in Detroit, who's hell-bent on undermining the Second Amendment and probably the First Amendment as well. And if you missed that work, you might want to go back and watch. October 21st, she was reportedly killed. Again, that was Netanyahu's 74th birthday. And now the police say they have the suspect, but they're not putting out any information. There's some reason they need to keep it secret. So, probably some CIA MK Ultra project they don't want to put out there. Also, who was in the news today, you guys, was Jimmy Carter. CNN was drawing parallels between Biden and Jimmy Carter, as they've been doing ever since he won Georgia. But realize that today was Jimmy Carter's 39th day of his age. Tomorrow will be 39 days after his birthday. As we talked about, we just passed the 44th anniversary of the start of the Iranian hostage crisis, which lasted 444 days. And Netanyahu, Mr. 44, just literally about an hour, a couple hours before it ticked into November 4th, the anniversary of the start of the Iranian hostage crisis, Netanyahu said that there will be no peace in Gaza until all the hostages are returned. And remember, the first hostage video released was the woman with the last name Shem. And the people of Shem, Jewish tribe in the Bible, are mentioned in Genesis 10:21 for the first time. 10:21, like Netanyahu's birthday, October 21st, 10:21. Mia Shem. And yeah, there's a lot more to that name, Mia Shem and Gematria as well. But again, Jimmy Carter's been in hospice care for almost a year now, at the tail end of his life. And now they're syncing up. And remember, the whole hostage thing was with Iran with Jimmy Carter, and they're saying Hamas is backed by Iran, and that's the sensitive area here that could tip off a world war. So, anyhow, you had a supposedly a would-be mass shooter arrested by the Capitol Police outside the Russell Senate office building, and that building is named after a man from Georgia who was a politician who died in 71. The same year that Jimmy Carter became governor of Georgia, which is another hotbed right now because of the whole Trump ongoing legal case down there, again, where Trump got his fourth indictment in the fourth state. So all these little storylines, it's a Kabbalistic web of history and political conflict and strife. And again, the Iranian hostage crisis ends with Ronald Reagan, who ran on Make America Great Again, which Trump also did. And as Trump's saying right now, if he were in there, none of this would be happening. Trump would have all this averted. So, and again, just day after day, there's headlines like today, Iran-backed Houthis shoot down American drone off the coast of Yemen. Every time I see Yemen, it just gives me PTSD of being a freshman in college, and right after 9/11, how in my English class, our teacher threw out the curriculum and gave us a new curriculum, a new syllabus, and the new focus of the semester was going to be on the Middle East and terrorism, and we were all going to just study every last nation there and the terrorist threat they all posed. And I just thought it was gross and disgusting, and I voiced my opinion about what a joke I thought everything was, and I felt like I was back in middle school again because the professor made me sign a behavior plan that I wouldn't speak out in class. And I remember I just had to toe the line if I wanted to stay in class. Remember, I just had to go along and write the essays and just think, what a joke. Can't believe I'm paying for this. So we have to do to get a good job, huh? Go to college and get indoctrinated. Okay. Well, the truth is you can go there and you can see through the indoctrination too and just jump through the hoops and get your piece of paper, and it might impress somebody someday and help you get a better job. But really what we should all do is stop jumping through the hoops and supporting this system. Again, that's what they want when you're 18. Either pay for a bunch of debt to go to school or start working and start contributing your tax dollars that way. So, also in the news, Coming up on another commercial break, we'll finish up these news stories, and then after the break, we'll take calls the rest of the way. We'll have 2 hours of calls. If you do want to phone in, the line's not too long right now. Again, 213-233-3998. But yeah, we'll start with the calls probably after the break. Again, just a couple more stories to get through, and one of those was another death in the world of entertainment. The Black Panther stuntman, who was the stuntman for Chadwick Boseman back in the film that was released in 2018, Mr. Ramses, on Halloween, got into a car crash that killed him and his 3 young children. And again, this show that's on Netflix right now that's buzzing, The Fall of the House of Usher. If you haven't seen it, it's based on Edgar Allan Poe stories. It's about a brother and sister who make a deal with the devil on New Year's to become rich and famous and powerful. But the deal is that at the end, the devil will be repaid with the lives of all of their children. And that's why, not to really ruin it, but you realize, if you pay attention, you might not even notice, but if you realize the sister never has any children, and that's probably why she didn't have a family, but the brother has quite a few kids. And again, just as they make the deal, you see how it all unfolds. And kind of just like how, spiritual forces, in a way, with the assistance of the devil, make sure that the deaths are paid in time. And again, this happened on Halloween, which is a day that's associated with the satanic. It's also associated with the Jesuits, where their roots came from, with the Martin Luther and the penning of the 95 Theses. But him dying at age 41, in Gematria, Halloween equals 41. And we've seen rituals with 41 on Halloween before. Dying at age 41 also means you die in your 42nd year of life. Again, we know what Chadwick Boseman, he died on the makeshift Jackie Robinson Day, who wore number 42, and initially he died at age 42 before all the headlines changed to he died at age 43, and then we document. I mean, you can still go back and look at my old blog post. We have the screenshots of the old IMDb, the old Google, the old Wikipedia, with his old birthday where he was 42, and then they bumped his birthday back a year. Like within 24 hours of his death, every online source had changed Chadwick Boseman's death back 1 year, so that instead he died at age 43 instead of 42. But you can still tell that he died at 42, because just go read the articles from that summer that mentioned how he was 42 years old and battling cancer. His birthday wasn't until November. He died August 28th. So it would have been impossible for him to turn 43 from June, when those articles were written, to August 28th, when his birthday was November. But again, Chadwick Boseman died on Jackie Robinson Day, and also Jack Kirby's birthday, who wrote the Black Panther. And again, the Jackie Robinson was in World War II and fought in a tank brigade known as the Black Panthers. So there's this connection with 42, Jackie, the Black Panther, and now this man at 41, which again, when you turn 41, you begin your 42nd year of life. We always talk about 38 in death and murder. He also died 38 months and 3 days from Chadwick Boseman. He also died 257 days after the anniversary of the release of the film Black Panther, which is the 55th prime number. Satan is 55, blood sacrifice is 257. So R.I.P. to him and his family as well. But yeah, I mean, you just got to say, like, I wish I could be a fly in the wall when this stuff goes down. I mean, Bob Dylan spoke eloquently about how these people sell their soul to make it an entertainment. He did it too. I want to see more people say it, and I want to see what the process looks like. I mean, did he realize that he'd only have 5 years and it was going to be him and all of his children? I'm sure if he could go back, if this is the real outcome, that he would not do it again. At least I would hope so. And by the way, you guys, before we do go on the commercial break, write down this email address if you're an illustrator. GematriaEffectNews@gmail.com. November 30th, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern's the deadline. Illustrations that will go in the Kobe book I'm finishing. If you want to know more about what I'd like to see in the illustrations, again, you can use your own mind, but I gave some ideas for things that I envision in the book. And the stream I did yesterday, we'll announce the winners at the end of the month. And before long, we'll have out our first Gematria children's style book. It'll appeal to adults and children. And again, the main premise of this book series, I've been talking about this for a while, is don't sell your soul. Because it's obviously that's what's going on in the world of entertainment. Selling the souls, the ritualistic deaths, the code, and how, again, by learning this knowledge that we're revealing, you can see through how the rituals are performed. Who's doing the rituals, why they need to be stopped. And yeah, this little short book on Kobe, I'm doing my best to keep it as efficient as possible. It's hard sometimes because there's more that I want to put in there, but yeah, I think it will really make the point. So, and by the way, just regards to sports and ritualism, big game in Germany this past Sunday. Andy Reid tied the Chiefs founder with his 124th regular season win. And the football club that plays in that stadium in Germany is 124 years old, and Andy Reid did that 124 days after Hank Stram's death anniversary on July 4th. Go figure. 124th win, he tied him. All right, we'll be right back after the break.
Spain.
Censorship and regulation is becoming an ever-growing problem in today's modern media. From the mainstream to YouTube and Google, the information you're looking for is buried by official narratives and propaganda. This is why TFR is 100% uncensored, unregulated, and listener-supported. The shows on TFR are not micromanaged by the station, and our hosts are free to speak their minds however they please. As such, the views and opinions expressed on our station are of those who make them. If you happen to hear anything offensive on TFR, please send us an email to toughtitty@tfrlive.com, and we'll be happy to tell you that we really don't give a damn. We stand for freedom of speech and non-censorship. If you also stand for free speech, you can go to tfrlive.com/signup and sign up for a TFR supporter pass and help us in our mission to keep the airwaves uncensored and unregulated. TFR Live, your uncensored and unregulated protection from deception.
What's up? It is time for us to adopt a new company brand to encompass everything that we do, to reflect who we are and what we hope to build. I am proud to announce that starting today, our company is now Meta. We're going to talk about the metaverse. Meta. I was supposed to be the robot. Meta. This could be very positive for our society. Meta. I hope that you will join us. You're going to be able to do almost anything you can imagine. This isn't about spending more time with screens. It's about making the time that we already spend better. We're starting to see a lot of these technologies. Next, there are avatars. And that's how we're going to represent ourselves in the metaverse. All right, perfect. I thought I was supposed to be the robot. You'll see the facial expressions. You get to decide when you want to be with other people, when you want to block someone from appearing in your space, or when you want to take a break and teleport to a private bubble. Meta. We're going to talk about the metaverse. Meta. I thought I was supposed to be the robot. Meta. This could be very positive for our society. Meta. I hope that you will join us. I want to share what we imagine is possible. This is not the way that we are meant to use technology. That's too real a thing. That's a glimpse of the kinds of experiences that you might have in the metaverse. You're going to really feel like you're there with other people. I also want to be upfront about the fact that there's a ton that we just don't know yet. So we're going to approach this with humility and openness. We're going to talk about the metaverse. Meta. I was supposed to be the robot. Meta. This could be very positive for our society.
Tuned into the truth frequency.
We are TFR.
Condition orange. Condition orange. Situation Delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
Ouch. Don't watch. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal. More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. Think for yourself. Question authority.
This code has been compromised.
All right, I think we're back, Truth Seeker. Over the break, I was alerted that Matt Ulrich, former Super Bowl champion with the Indianapolis Colts, is dead at age 41. And of course, we know in Gematria, Super Bowl equals 41. Big number that we talk about with the Super Bowl a lot. But what makes this more interesting is he's dead today on November 8th, 118. Again, the numbers 118 have a lot to do with death. And didn't I just have how they have a lot to do with 41 as well? Because when you spell out 41, it equals 118. I know I was talking about this with George Herbert Walker Bush earlier. 41, 118. So here we are again. And his death is 95 days before the upcoming Super Bowl on February 11th, 2024, which is the 95th birthday of the Vatican. And we've been talking about this one all year with all the deaths in Baltimore, especially connected to the Ravens. But in Gematria, Baltimore equals 95 when you use the alphabetic order, 41 when you use the alphabetic order with numerology, and 58 when you run the alphabetic order in reverse numerology. So Baltimore has the connection to 95, because again, this man played for the Colts that were originally the Baltimore Colts, and now his death is 95 days before the Super Bowl, again on the 95th birthday of the Vatican, dead at 41, a Baltimore and Super Bowl number. The city of Baltimore is currently 3-1 in Super Bowls, by the way. And then again, it's Super Bowl 58 this year. And you just got to say, what are the odds? What are the odds? So yeah, thank you for the tip-off about the Matt Ulrich death. I was just looking at his NFL football reference page. He's dead right before NFL Week 10. Look at how many games he played in his NFL career. Played in 10 games. NFL Week 10 starts tomorrow with Thursday Night Football. Remember, Marilyn Manson has the song, "When you say God, I say 10." Spelled S-A-Y number 10. In Gematria, both God and Satan equal 10. So, yeah, unbelievable stuff. Shout out to the people who are generous every night. Shout out to 13 Serpents, One Asian Mom, Fabian Livingston. Appreciate it. Thank you again, Rick James. It was the super chat that tipped me off to the Matt Ulrich death. Appreciate that. All right, let's open up the phone lines. Again, the number is on the screen. And let's see, 618, you're on, 618.
What's up, Zach? I noticed something interesting in the skies of the States this past week. A lot of like nuclear planes flying over Texas, Michigan, and ever since that Israel conflict. And I think we're getting close to like DEFCON 2. And yeah, so they were these planes, right? They were like the most impressive American planes that they have with the nukes on them, F-16s and whatnot. And they were turning off their transponders mid-flight, which is like an alarm bell, because they usually don't do that unless they're on some like secret mission. And they've been doing this for the past 2 weeks now, since the Israel conflict. So, and it makes me think, like, I want to hear your thoughts. Do you think like that the Americans, like, they would just nuke their own country, sort of like 9/11? What do you think?
Well, you just answered the question, right?
Well, 9/11 was small, right? It was just a building or
right,
two.
exactly. And just like how I was 18 when it happened, and I started thinking about all these things, I was like, okay, if they would do this now, what would they do in the future? How much worse could it be? So, I mean, that's the thing. Like, if you see a problem and you start to realize what's going on, and then you don't do something about the problem, you can only expect that problem to get even worse in the future. So, yeah, I'd say that problem, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying that problem would be the Jews, right? That problem would be the Jews running America by proxy, right?
Well, I think when you say the Jews, I think it's not a fair accusation. I think the Jesuits is a lot more accurate. The Jesuits is the Jewish Catholic alliance that holds clout and runs the government and controls the media and has access to the military, and Jesuits is what I say.
Yeah, Jesuit Zionists.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you follow the Zion.
They run America by proxy, right?
Yeah, just Zionism's not that old of a thing. It came out of Britain, just like how they were controlling the land that's now Israel prior to what unfolded there. So,
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they use America, because that's like the Israel's little puppet slave, you know? And it's like their little science experiment. Eventually, the Jews, they're like parasites.
Hold on. So you got to really look at it from a fair perspective. What controls Israel is what controls the United States. And then it's like, you could argue that, yeah, we are kind of the slaves of Israel, because a lot of people here who have never gotten anything from this government, they have to pay taxes to the government, and that money goes to off places like Israel and Ukraine. But you got to look at also just like an even bigger picture. You got to zoom out further and look at how many different people of the world are essentially the slaves of America, because their whole life has been, working in some factory to generate some product that they could never afford in their own lives, but are made for Americans, like Nike shoes and whatnot. So there's like different levels to slavery. And in a sense, it's like you have all these people that are slaves in the sweatshops in these Asian nations, and they come from all different religions too. But they're essentially, in a way, that those people in this system are slaves for people like you and I, and we're not Jewish. But do you follow what I'm saying?
Slaves to us, because I don't think we're slaves, me and you. Because I fast, I fast like 140 days this year. I'm not addicted to consuming. I'm not materialistic, So I don't have these problems. Like, that's slavery is what we're saying. In America, they have that sort of slavery of consumption, right?
Well, we're still slaves. We are slaves in this nation, because if you do not comply with the system, they can throw you in a cage, and that's how you know you're a slave. If you just said, I'm not paying any more taxes or fees or putting up with anything else, you'd find yourself in a cage before long, and that's how you know you're a slave to this system. It's pay out and put up or else. So,
yeah, well, I feel like if you can fast, if you can control your hunger and your thirst,
well, then you're Siddhartha. All right, man, appreciate it. Yeah, no, that everything he's saying, that's true. If you can be a minimalist, you can be less of a slave to this system. Absolutely. Um, but yeah, let's see. We got both the brothers back on the line tonight. They haven't called in a while. They call in together. Let's see. Looking for phone numbers for people who don't typically call in. 435 Utah. You're on.
Hi, Seth. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
It's Daria.
Oh, hi, Daria.
Yeah, hi. How are you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. I just wanted to share a couple of decodes. I've been really active on Twitter, so I've been posting a lot of decodes on Twitter.
Okay.
Of course, one of the things trending, of course, the writer strike is over today after 118 days on strike on 11/8. Of course, Hollywood, California equals 118.
Perfect.
And today leaves 53 days left in the year. And of course, SAG-AFTRA, the Screen Actors Guild company that they were, striking against, of course, is 53. Today leaves 53 days left in the year. And let's see, yesterday, of course, they came out and they said, of course, the actor Patrick Dempsey was named, the sexiest man alive, People magazine. And of course, everybody was wondering, well, how come this guy got chosen? And of course, go figure, Patrick Dempsey is from Lewiston, Maine, where they have the mass shooting.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So, I mean, all these things, it's just, once the thing is, Gematria is, it's one of the greatest knowledges you can have. You can see through the script, you can see through the news, not get emotionally invested on, any of these stories, and, I just wanted to say, just thank you, for teaching me this knowledge.
Well, thank you, Daria, for always being a great contributor and supporter. And I'm going to make a point to be stopping by your Twitter page a lot more. So, yeah, I see all your posts, and you're doing great work. I was just going to add Los Angeles also equals 53 to go with the LA 53 and 118 connection. How perfect today is for this strike to end. So, good observation.
All right. Well, that's all I got, Zach, and thank you.
Appreciate it, Daria. Keep up the great work. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you have a good night. Okie dokie. 440, you're on.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Zach, how you doing, man?
Doing all right.
Yeah, two quick things off topic, but I got introduced to your work about when I heard after the Kobe Bryant death, stumbled across some of your videos, and that just blew my mind. You probably read this somewhere, but I haven't heard you say it. Have you heard his workout routine? His off-season workout routine was called the 666.
Oh yeah.
Workout routine.
Indeed.
Yeah. I just read that. I just saw that somewhere today. I'm like, my God, they do it right in your face. Yeah. I had a thought. I tried to introduce this stuff to people I know, and one video or me explaining it for 5 minutes just loses them. Do you have like a video out there? I know you got like books and stuff, but do you have like a video that is like kind of short and sweet and gets to the point, explaining all this stuff to somebody where it's not like overwhelming, to kind of introduce them to all this stuff?
In the past, I mean, I forget all what's still up because I've had so many channels deleted, but I put out some like 1 minute Gematria introductory videos in the past.
Yeah, just a thought to show people without, if I try to explain it myself, like I lose them because I'm coming from too many different angles and all that. Just a thought to try to help get your work out to people without, going over their head too quickly.
Yeah, again, I'm hoping this little book here that's going to come out about Kobe, where like one page of information is one number in the ritual, and there's a drawing there to help cement the idea. And then the next page is, one number again. So you just have a page of a number with all the number. And just maybe even making short videos off of that, or showing people the page in the book and saying, I mean, think about that. What are the odds of that? All the Kobe 41s. It's just, I have trouble relating with the rest of the populace that just doesn't catch on. I mean, here I am talking about 41 and 118. I didn't even realize that Matt Ulrich's dead today, and it just couldn't be a more perfect example. You know what I mean? It's like, how do people look at this and not question it? So,
the most mind-blowing thing is people, if you like 9/11 to me is the easiest one to kind of see through the BS, and people just would rather refuse to acknowledge that they've been lied to rather than admit, like, yeah, there was a bunch of corruption and, pre-planning going on there. That's the craziness. It's just the mindset. People don't want to admit that they've been lied to their whole life, I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's a big part of it. That's the ego. So.
Yep, but good work, man. I'm glad I got to finally talk to you. Appreciate your work.
All right, yeah. And again, to keep it simple, I always just show people the 74 thing. You just got to show them the most simple cipher, no numerology. A is 1 up to Z is 26. It's all the things that equal 74. That's where I start with a lot of people. They seem to get it. So.
Okay. All right, cool, man. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Take care.
Bye.
Okie dokie. Let's get, it's a George sighting. What's up, George?
Oh, hello, Zach. Hi, I phoned in last week, but for some reason I just couldn't get through. Can you hear me all right?
You're loud and clear.
Oh, okay. So I realized this would have been more apropos to bring this up last week since they had just happened previously. Couple of things. I know you talked at great lengths about the late actor Matthew Perry. I know you've done several videos and you spoke at great lengths about him. And I don't want to relitigate that, so to speak. But I did respond to one of your videos in which I spoke about his historical namesake, Commodore Matthew Perry. Now, do you remember reading about him in history in high school or college? The Commodore Perry.
His name's familiar, but I not a lot about him. So, what's the?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so he's basically, I don't want to say disappeared from history, but he's basically a footnote in history. He was the U.S. naval commander that led a small armada of ships into Tokyo Bay 1854 on March the 31st. It basically said you need to open up to the west because I guess back in the late, I want to say 17th century, I don't remember the exact year, the Japanese kicked out all the Europeans, the British, the Dutch, the Spanish, and the Jesuits. The only people whom they're allowed to remain, they allowed the Dutch to keep a trading post in Nagasaki. But on March the 31st, 1854, Commodore Perry basically said, hey, you need to reopen. And he was a known Freemason. And I'm sorry, I'm not online, but his birthday was April the 10th. I forgot the year, but so you can look him up if you like. So do you think with this actor, Matthew Perry, they're paying sort of an homage to him?
Maybe. They often are paying tribute to history. I mean, it's not something I thought about. George, you always call in with like, hey, what about, I mean, just what are your thoughts on it? You're calling in with the thoughts on it. Give us your thoughts. I mean, who cares what I think? I just realized that's how all your calls are, George. Like, what do you think about it? I mean, just like, here, you're the one who's putting these things together, so call in with your point about it,
Okay, fair enough. All right, something you spoke about months ago was the whole Lahaina fire, or the Maui fire, but a major target was Lahaina. And you talked about the uprising, basically how the Committee of 13 overthrew the Hawaiian government in 1893. Was it January the 17th? So that was, so with Commodore Perry opening up Tokyo in 1854 and the overthrowing the Hawaiian government in 1893, they were setting up two of the major chess pieces for the future war with the United States and Japan in the Far East. Because remember, people like Charles Chineke said the Jesuits always plan at least decades, sometimes centuries ahead of time. So that's what my um, uh, thoughts were.
Okay.
And of course, I like to get, and I don't mean to sound impertinent, but yes, I know what I think. However, I'd like to know what you think. Also, just speaking of Matthew Perry, the actor, his mom, Suzanne, was Canadian. And as a matter of fact, she was the press secretary for, Trudeau, Pierre Trudeau, allegedly Justin's father. Now, there's some dispute as to who's Justin's father is, and I won't broach that. So that's interesting that Matthew Perry, the actor, had a mom with a prominent political background. And so that was, I'm sure that helped pave his way into Hollywood. But there again, he did have to pay a price. He died at a relatively young age of 54. And if I could just mention a couple quick things about Maine, I realize you have other callers. I know you talked at great length about the whole episode in Maine, in Lewiston, Maine. For what it's worth, the Attorney General in Maine, what was his name? Aaron Fry, went to St. Anselm College in New Hampshire, which is a Catholic school. Also, John Alexander, the chief medical examiner for the state of Maine, got his undergrad degree from Boston College.
Okay.
So, I'm not saying what happened in Maine was a false flag. I'm not saying the Jesuits had anything to do with it. Could have been a pure coincidence. But it's just, these things happen all the time. That your attorney general and the person who's in charge of conducting the autopsies, one went to Catholic school in Rye, and the top doctor there was trained by the Jesuits.
Yeah, it does seem to happen a lot, and it does look like a big FF. So.
Oh yes, I know you're not allowed to say that. Okay, I'll call it a bogus ensign. So if I could just say one other thing, and I'm sharing my opinion. This thing, I've not looked into this, but you know that the writer Stephen King is from Maine. I know this is probably completely immaterial, but somebody pointed this out to me. And have you read any of his books?
Somebody I was just talking to was just telling me that I need to read his Dark Tower series, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a lot of 19 in it.
Okay, so Stephen King is from Maine.
Right.
And almost all of his books either take place in Maine or the main character is from Maine. And, you have The Sinking of the U.S. Maine, with February the 2nd, 1898. I'm just going from memory. So that was the event that precipitated the American-Spanish War. And I'm sure, and if you think about it, Maine seems like one of the least likely states for an event like this to happen. Yes, you're going to stay in California, New York, Illinois, but Maine has a population of about maybe 1.4 million people. And last year, in 2022, they had 29 murders. And they typically will have like 20, 25 murders a year. So it's a relatively safe state. And they say that 18 or 22 people die. I guess it'll change. They keep changing the number, just like how old Chadman Boseman was. So it's just, so that could help further the anti-Second Amendment agenda, at least on the state level.
Right.
But as I said, and if I could say one last thing, regarding false flags, I have 5 rules. 1, there's no such thing as a false flag. 2, the United States government has never engaged in foreign false flags. 3, the United States no longer engages in foreign false flags. 4, the United States has never engaged in domestic false flags. 5,
5.
Oh, that was a joke.
Oh, I see. Okay, got it. Got it, George. All right, well, appreciate it as always.
Oh, okay, so I guess I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care, George.
You too.
All right, have a good night. Yeah, if you missed the work that we did on the Matthew Perry passing, it was a mega ritual, and it was perfectly synced with the Last Friends episode, which was released on HBO home box office. Again, HBO has the big 54 connection. He died the night of the full moon, the hunter's moon, which equals 54, matching his age of death. Home box office equals 126 and 54. He died 126 weeks after the Friends special at age 54. And a number of other things. And I've noticed in the weeks since his passing, there's been several stories about how he wasn't faithful to other women, and just kind of like, I suppose, some male shaming. I just thought, this stuff's low-key too. Somebody's dead and then you're going to like add dirt on their name. I mean, the media is just so dirty. But it just fits in with the political agendas of the time, and they're headlines that a lot of people relate with because so few people are loyal to each other, and so many marriages these days end in divorce because of cheating and it's all these epidemics in society. And this industry, the entertainment industry, kind of helps promote these divisions and problems within families. So we got another quick break. There's the sound. We'll be right back, everybody.
Sometimes shifting slow. Boy, it's easy to get faked out by being busy. The key is not just being busy, the key is doing what? So we look at results to see if there may be some difficulty with activity, because it takes activity to bring enterprise into being. There's a whole study here on activity. Activity is like birth pains. It ain't easy. But see, it wasn't meant to be easy. Values were meant to be costly. The only way we can appreciate a value is by its cost. If it doesn't cost much, we probably wouldn't call it valuable. True winning is a great worth, but the price is to play with all your heart and mind, and perhaps do some losing sometimes so that when you do win, boy, the worth and the value of the winning now becomes a high appreciation, simply because now we understand both sides of this equation, price and promise.
Discover the extraordinary powers of intuitive healing with pain transmutation, a method of holistic healing for the human soul, body, mind, and emotions. If you are looking for answers and a deep understanding of how to help yourself and the people around you to live a happier, healthier life, this is the right place for you. Learn how to read your soul's history in the Akashic Records, remove negative energy attachments from your astral body, and start the process of inner and outer pain transmutation. Join Pain Transmutation Community to get started on the path of intuitive healing. Change your energetic state, manifest new and exciting experiences, re-energize your life, and build inspiring connections with others in our community.
True initiation is an inward journey. It's a spiritual path that is totally inward. It has nothing to do with anything external to you.
I want to determine if the grand architect is indeed what I believe it to be, which is the artificial intelligence.
The initiatory path is one of self-discovery and self-revealing. It's not a journey that someone can hold your hand through.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I want to take you through the steps of initiation. Remember, you are divinity.
Step Beyond the Veil with Chris and Sherry Gio, Fridays and Saturdays, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Real people, real radio. Wherever you are, it's TFR. Bruce Frequency Radio.
There's supposed to be sound right now, even though we don't hear anything. All right, I'm going to assume that the music's done, even though we didn't hear it at all over here. And again, we got about an hour and a half of show left. We are going to take calls the rest of the way. Next up, shout out to John Mendoza, by the way. Thank you, John. But next up, New York. 347, how you doing?
Over here. Hey, what's up, Zach? Over here. Hey, what's up, Zach?
Yeah, man. How are you?
You can hear me?
Yeah.
I got a couple quick points I want to get to you. The first one. Could you tell me the numbers behind them censoring that Palestinian congressperson? It was what? 22 Democrats voted against her, and she's the 26th person to be censored in the history. So what's with the number of 26 and 22 Democrats?
I didn't look into it, so off the top of my head, I don't know necessarily exactly where they're going with that right now. But again, they did that on the day leaving 54 days left in the year, and Islam is 54, and of course she's one of the Muslim members of Congress. So.
I have one thing so did that. Yeah. I didn't hear you say that again, Zach.
I said I didn't look into the 22 and 26 part of the ritual, but they did that yesterday, the day leaving 54 days left in the year, and Islam equals 54.
So it got to be a ritual because she's the only Palestinian congressperson, so it got to be a ritual with it, right?
I'm sure there is. I didn't do that much of a decode on it, but I can look at it more.
Okay, my next story. I know you're talking about Biden and Carter. That article, look how the article reads. The Democrats hope 2024 is not like 1980 and Biden is not Jimmy Carter. What kind of headline is that to have after the election day?
Yeah, and it goes exactly with the whole hostage crisis thing they've been doing the last week that I've been talking about as well. So, yeah. And like I said, today's Jimmy Carter's 39th day of his age. He was the 39th president. So CNN had that story up today.
Okay, my next one. Did you do a story about the U.S. talking about the new nuclear bomb they got that is more powerful than the last bomb?
I didn't know there was a new nuclear bomb news story.
Yes, a new bomb that is more powerful than the one that they dropped on Hiroshima.
Okay, I see October 27th, they announced that they're developing a more powerful nuclear bomb. Okay.
Okay. All right, and my last one is, Elon Musk, he's still looking for volunteers for his New Link thing. Any volunteers out there?
Right. Yeah.
How many people you think will volunteer for that?
I don't know.
We'll see what they do.
Yeah. Hopefully nobody.
I'm just waiting to see how many people going to volunteer because I remember we talked about this story in the summertime, and he's still looking for volunteers. So he having a hard time finding some?
Yeah, I think we understand why.
All right, Zach. That's it. I just want to hit you with a quick point because I ain't talk to you in a minute.
All right, man. Well, appreciate you calling in. You have a good night.
Okay.
All right, take care.
Okay. Okay.
All right. And then we got the brothers back to back. First up is Austin.
Hey, Zach.
How you doing?
I'm breathing.
Okay.
Great show. You know what's going on. 9/11. 3 buildings fell down. They reported the 3rd building fell down before it fell down in Europe. It was leased by the CIA. They were told to evacuate. I heard the owner that he said, pull it. Yeah, right. The whole thing was a scam, a demolition. I knew it immediately. I knew it way before it even happened. Months before I knew it was going to happen. Jones said it. I said it. A lot of us said it. We knew this was to take over America. This country has been totally taken over, completely taken over. It's a sick joke. Evil always seems to win. That's why I used to be very religious, and I prayed, and I love God, and I love Jesus. And now I'm like, you know what? You guys you're the sinners, not me. You created sin. You created these Jews. You fucking created all this evil, and you handed it to us. Like, we're so evil. Like, what did we? You give us what, 10% of our brain to use? And I watched the whole world digress deliberately on purpose. A magic show, watching everything digress straight to fucking hell, and I'm supposed to believe in a fucking fictitious son of a bitch. It's nothing but love, when in reality it's evil versus evil. Which evil do you want? I used to think there was good versus evil. It's just fucking evil versus fucking evil, and everybody's so brainwashed, dumbed up, mind controlled, manipulated, lab ratted, guinea pigged, poisoned to death. And this is the world we were given by this Mr. Perfect son of a bitch that calls me a sinner when he created sin.
Well,
it's bullshit. It's bullshit that we have to put up with this fucked up world that's always been run by evil. It's not right. It's not. I'm a good son of a bitch. I'm a damn good person. And there's a lot of good people out there, but it's just built in to be brainwashed, because you ain't got enough brains to see, the fucking nose in front of your head, boy. Pisses me off. I get so fucking mad. I didn't have to read no goddamn books. I just knew this shit. I'm sorry, I knew it. And I'm going, oh my God, there's books about this shit that I knew. How do I know this shit? And Lord, okay. Yeah, I don't think we're going to win this war. I'm sorry. If people don't do what they're supposed to do, get rid of they're stealing the elections left and right. You know who I like? Kennedy. You know what? Yeah, I can't believe you have a Kennedy. He's a badass. He knows what the fuck's going on. And look what they're doing to him. Treating him like a piece of dog shit. Rat shit. Sorry, dogs. Rat shit. Where are we going? Where are we going with this country? Straight to fucking hell.
Yeah, I think Yeah, they got the theater show all the way for us to the end. I hate to burst your bubble, but I'm pretty sure that RFK is not on our side either. His entry into the race was quite ritualistic, paying tribute to the death of his father and his uncle.
Who's going along with the show just to fuck us all over? I believe it. I mean, people but I can't see it. I've always had this gift where I see somebody, especially politicians, and my track record is 110%. So I see Kennedy, I'm going, this guy, he's talking the right stuff. He's talking the right stuff, and then the media's pushing him away. So you still don't trust him, huh? Okay. I trust what you think. I mean, I'm missing something. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I mean, I've never been wrong when it comes to all these scumbags wanting to be the leader of the country. My track record is flawless. I'm 66 years old, and I've been interested in this shit since I was a little kid. 6, 7, 8 years old. Always talking politics with my mother. President, she'd ask me, who do you think's the president? Who you like? And she'd say, yeah, I like that guy too. So Opium Poppy Bush, LCIA doc, the creator of that. Fucking people are so stupid. They put up with this. They can't see through the lies. It makes me so mad that I can see through them and no one else can. I woke up so many goddamn fucking people over the goddamn years, and and they thank me. Thank you, Gordy, for fucking waking my stupid ass up, or I probably would have taken the shot and been dead and blah blah fucking blah. Hey, we don't even know. I know who the enemy is. Do the Americans really know? No, they don't. The majority of them still don't, and they never will. The majority of Americans still are brainwashed. They don't even know who the enemy is. And we pay the enemy to kill us. It's mind-blowing to me. Boy, and Bob Dylan. Yeah, I knew Bob Dylan sold his soul to the devil. I mean, listen to this, the way he sings. He sucks. His voice sucks. Good lyrics. Yeah, you know what? I heard that shit about him, and it made sense to me when I heard it years ago. And he came out, and everybody says, I sold my soul to the devil to be famous. I said, well, that sounds good, pretty right, because you suck. Your voice sucks. Your lyrics are, they're okay. I like your lyrics, but your voice sucks. Sorry. And you can't play the harp either. I mean, sorry, dude. I mean, I can play the harp better than that with my farts. No joke. Okay. But that's all I got to say tonight. I'm a little fired up because I'm watching the demise of the world, all by design, and I saw this shit when I was a little dumb kid. I can't help it. To get pissed. I'm pissed off because I always wanted to believe enough people would wake up to fix it all. But nah. I realized like 4 or 5 years, it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. We're fucked. We're fucked. Thanks, Creator. Yeah, you're a badass. You're one badass. You love your Satan, don't you? You love your devil a lot. It's quite obvious. But that won't change me from being a good motherfucking person. Treating people good, people right. Because that don't change me. I wish the South would have won the fucking Civil War. See how much different this country would be if the South would have won that war. It wasn't going to happen, but and it wasn't about slavery either.
It had a lot to do with the central bank, so.
Yeah, hey, hello. You know what's going on, Zach. You know exactly what's going on, man.
Yeah, indeed. But
I love you.
All right, man. I'll let your brother on now. We'll get the other side of the family tree. So.
All right, Sonny boy. Yeah, good talking to you.
All right. Yeah. You have a good night. Okay, that's the brother in Texas, and here's the brother in Michigan. Well, he's got to be there. What, he missed his brother's call? He's on hold. Michigan. Maybe his brother's call gave him a heart attack. All right, Michigan. I guess we'll let your brother speak for both of you tonight. Have a good one. Let's go out to New York, 347.
Hi, Zach. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm good. So this whole thing is pretty much one-sided. There is no two-sided. We always believe with a lie in the middle that the whole thing is supposed to be two-sided, and then as if there are hostages, and I wouldn't be surprised if the hostages are also part of the show as well. October 7, 2023 had a 60-date numerology, and it had a lot of other numbers like 15, which is the 47 prime, and it also had 17 as well, because October 7 is 107, so you drop the 0, it becomes 17, so Gaza is 17. And the border, it's 26 miles long of the Gaza. It was left open. That's one of the heaviest borders that the Zionists, they have. And somehow their military was pushed to the north. So the border was left open. So this whole thing must have been a very well coordinated attack. So when you spell out the word Zionist, it equals 40 and 41. The prime of 41 is 13. So 40 and 13 both are in the date numerology of October 7. Zionism with the M at the end is 105 and 42. Drop to 0, it becomes 15 and 42. They're also on October 7 as well. Arab is 22 and 13. That is also a date numerology for October 7. Islamic has 51, which is on October 7 as well. Muslim is 24, and it also has the 11 triangular, which is 66. There is also, the media is also controlled, as we know. There is the quote that says ceasefire now. When you type in ceasefire now, you get 60. 60 is also October 7th date numerology, and it also has a 201 in it. 201 is a very big number, and it also has a 66. 66 is the 11 triangular. So you have three numbers that are very significant. 60, which is the date numerology, 201, that's the signature, and you have 66, which is the 11 triangular as well. This past Friday was November 3rd, a date that can be written 11-3 or 3-1-1. The neighbors to the north is Lebanon, and the backed militia, they always say in the media, Iran, but what about U.S.? U.S. was always backing the Zionists, but they have a militia called Hezbollah, and Hezbollah was formed in the early 1980s during the Lebanese Civil War, which went on for 15 years, from 1975 to 1990. So in the early 80s, independent militia was called Hezbollah, which was formed in the south of Lebanon. They pushed the Zionists out in May 25th of 2000, and they liberated the country from the Zionists, and especially in the capital of Beirut. The last real war that Hezbollah and the Zionists had was in July of 2006, and that war lasted for 33 days. But this past, what I'm trying to get at is that this whole thing's one-sided. It's done by the numbers. 11-3, Friday, November 3rd, Nasrallah is the leader of Hezbollah. So if you type in Nasrallah, you get 157, which is the 37 prime, and that goes down to 12. So you have 307 day of the year, which is equivalent to 37 if you drop the 0 in the middle. And you have a date numerology of both 37 and 12. So you have 3 matches for November 3rd. So the organization Hezbollah in English is 37. Again, 307th day of the year is drop the 0 in the middle, becomes 37, and the date numerology is 37 and 12. Again, another 3 matches. You also have in the controlled media. So why is this important on November 3rd, this past Friday? Because the leader of Hezbollah was giving a massive news that they will not engage in the war with the Gaza and the Zionists. They will not engage. But why is it so significant? Because he came on at this date. You know, all the numbers are pretty much aligning one-sided. People are believing, with a lie in the middle, that it's two-sided. It's really one-sided. Hamas equals war. 42 and 15. 42 and 15 are also on October 7th, date numerology. We are now hearing in the controlled media, Amalek, A-M-A-L-E-K. In English, Amalek is 43, 16, and 119. So 119 is a significant number. In reverse of 9/11 is November 9. So November 9, going backwards from October 7, is how many days? The Masonic number, 33 days. So 11/9, November 9, which is coming up, has the date numerology of 43 and 16. 43 could go down to 14 prime, so it's 43 and 16, and 119 is the actual date. So you have 3 matches in one. When the Netanyahu, he kept saying Amalek. He kept using that word, Amalek. So, you know, this whole thing is one-sided. The intelligence agencies of the Zionists, which is Mossad, and our intelligence agency, which is the CIA, and the British intelligence agency, which is MI6, created the 5 dangerous organizations that are controlled and that we see in the controlled media, which is Hamas, ISIS back in 2014 with Syria and Iraq, the Taliban, which we've seen after 9/11 in Afghanistan, which was created in 1979 to fight off the Soviet Union in the capital of Kabul. Al-Qaeda, of course, we've seen that after 9/11, and the Mujahideen, of course, that our troops were fighting for absolutely no reason. Again, this whole thing is pretty much one-sided, and the media has people fighting among each other between like Democrats, Republican, what is reality is that it's just one-sided. So they have people fighting among each other. So the intelligence agencies of the Zionists compiles of 4 sub-organizations, which is Aman, the Shin Bet, the Mossad, and the Unit 8200. These 4 organizations are responsible for all the controlled attacks and the controlled media that people have under the hypnosis. Obviously, when we say the word terrorist in the controlled media, automatically we think of a Muslim with a beard or a man in a cave, of what we were programmed to believe after 9/11. So interesting that the word Holocaust also in English has the word has a gematria of 33. And going back to the 33-day war. So this past Friday was the 11/3, which was when I said earlier when the controlled media with Hezbollah, the leader was giving a speech that he will not engage with war as well. The last real war was on July 12, 2006, which lasted for the Masonic number of 33 days, ending August 14, 2006. So Also, what's interesting is that going to something more modern is October 7. Al-Aqsa is 51 and 15 in English. So these two are also part of the date numerology. Gaza 17, which I mentioned, 10-7, so drop to 0, becomes 17. Palestine is 101, 101 prime is 26. Hamas is 15 and 42, which is also part of the date numerology of October 7. These things are all controlled, and there is no such thing as two-sided. It's all one-sided, and it's done very well by the numbers. The word jihad, it has a perfect gematria with media. If you type in media, it comes out as jihad as well. They keep saying that the so-called, Hamas, they keep using Fajr rockets, F-A-J-R. So that equates to the word Gaza as well. So the whole thing is pretty much connected very, very well with the Gematria as well. If you type in Philistina in Hebrew, which is the Fe, the Lamed, Shin, Tuf, Yud, and the Nun, and the Hey, you also get you get 101. 101 is also the 26 prime as well. So also the way they're doing it also is with the Hebrew gematria as well. People could just open up their eyes and they could see what things are, how things are going. This past month I've been talking a little too much in my synagogue, and my rabbi and people there, the environment is very tight. Every time I go to the shul,
we're in commercial break. I'll be right back, everybody.
Hi, my name is Ella, and I'm 10 years old. I'm one of the millions of children born to parents suffering from the sheeple virus. Symptoms include the inability to think for oneself, the attention span of a goldfish, and a strong belief in government and the mainstream media. It is estimated that 1 out of every 2 children are being raised by parents infected with the sheeple virus. But there is a cure. For as little as 19 cents per day, you can become a TFR supporter and help children like me get their daily dose of truth. Together, we will make sure every child has protection from deception.
I'm making this presentation directly to the American people with the media present, which is an honor to have you this morning, because many of our nation's reporters and folks will not tell you the truth. Okay, it's a ruse. It's all fake news. A ruse. Not ruse, it's all fake news. Okay, it's a ruse. It's all fake news. The news is fake because so much of the news is fake. One of the reasons I'm here today is to tell you the whole Russian thing, that's a ruse. Russia is fake news. Russia, this is fake news. Well, I own nothing in Russia. I have no loans in Russia. Talk all you want about Russia. I don't have any deals in Russia. Tomorrow the headlines are going to be, Donald Trump, Lance Ray, press is out of control. Dishonesty is out of control. We're not going to let it happen because I'm here again to take my message straight to the people. It's a ruse. It's all fake news. It's a ruse. Not ruse, it's all fake news. It's a ruse. It's all fake news. The news is fake because so much of the news is fake. Hillary Clinton gave Russia 20% of the uranium in our country. You know what uranium is, right? Thing called nuclear weapons and other things. Like lots of things are done with uranium, including some bad things. Hillary gave away 20% of the uranium in the United States. She's close to Russia. I didn't do anything for Russia. Tomorrow you'll say, Donald Trump wants to get along with Russia. This is terrible. This is terrible. It's a ruse. It's all fake news. It's a ruse. Not true. It's all fake news. It's a ruse. It's all fake news. The news is fake because so much of the news is fake. Fuck.
This is Truth Frequency Radio. The wicked one, obviously under heavy Masonic influence.
Condition orange. Condition orange. Situation Delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
Ouch. Don't watch. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal. More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them.
Think for yourself. Question authority.
This code has been compromised.
All right, I think the audio's done, so we're back. And New York caller got interrupted by the break, but New York, you had a very long call. Again, when you try to phone in, if you could just be more efficient, more concise, just let a few more voices get on. Again, if a call is about 3 minutes, that's usually a good max. And do appreciate all the information and research. Let's go out to 403 Canada. 403, you're on.
Hey, hello, Zach. My name is John. I'm a pretty young dude calling from Canada. I just want to say, first and foremost, thank you for your work. The amount of stuff I'm learning through Gematria is mind-blowing. The reason why I called today is because it was a couple months ago that I came across a PDF on the internet. It was called the SPARS pandemic. Have you heard about it?
SPARS, yeah, we've talked about SPARS.
Yeah, so the reason why I basically want to bring it up is because, with the war that's going on in Israel and Gaza, yeah, it seems as if it's basically, a foreshadow of Donald Trump's presidency, which is basically a year from now. It basically is going to happen on November 5th, and Freemasons equal 115. SPARS pandemic equals 138. Donald Trump equals 138 as well.
I just thought about one other thing. We might have talked about this before, but again, the election next year is on November 5th, which can also be written 5/11. Trump's campaign in 2015 and 16 lasted 511 days, for anybody who wants to go back and check that. 511 relates to Saturn. Saturn equals 511 in Jewish Gematria. And Saturn worship also has a Gematria value of 78, just like how he'll be 78 years old at the time of the election. Saturn's the keeper of time, and all these rituals are in time. And speaking of time, time also has the Jewish Gematria value of 144, and that election next year is 144 days after his birthday. So, but go ahead.
Yeah, so I was basically doing some Gematria. I went on the calculator, and I basically came to this revelation that, SPARS basically stands for St. Paul Respiratory Acute Syndrome, equals to 137. So basically the story is there's American missionaries in the Philippines, and then they go back to Minnesota, which is where they're from. And the city that the virus is called is St. Paul, Minnesota, and it equals to 223, the same as Masonic. It's also on the 44th north, the 44th parallel north, and the 93 meridian west. The reason, what I think is pretty interesting about the Philippines is I was watching a video the other day. It stated that currently the Jesuits, they have a huge presence in India and the Philippines at the moment. And like, it does make sense because currently, India has like the largest population. And it seems as if the Jesuits are using India to steer their New World Order. And the Philippines is pretty important as well because that's basically the place where the United States, recently reopened their military base, and that's basically the place where the Chinese and Taiwan war will take place, and it also equals to 223 as well. And the reason why I basically bring all this up is because I feel like after this Israel and Gaza situation like loses momentum and just dies down, the SPARS pandemic is basically going to be another distraction by the Jesuits. Do you agree with what I say, or do you think I'm wrong?
Well, again, the SPARS pandemic simulation, for people who don't know, it was put on by the Johns Hopkins University, who also did CLADEX and Event 201. And again, the simulation is a pandemic that lasts from 2025 to 2028. And like you said, it's Minnesota. Minnesota has the Gematria 38 like pandemic. Again, it wouldn't be shocking. Bill Gates has already been talking about the next pandemic, and they've been working on what they want to do with the next pandemic to make sure people get vaccinated faster. And we know how as soon as COVID wound down, they had a world war rumor with Russia, Ukraine, and now we've got Israel and more world war rumors. I'm not sure that those things have to go away. They could just keep throwing more and more things on top of humanity at once to bring about their cataclysm, to eventually bring about their new world order. Again, I always say the new world order is an old world order, but it's obviously evolving into a greater police surveillance state as time moves on. And we saw that worked with COVID. Again, people forgot COVID, the big tech companies said, hey, we're working with the government to make sure you guys are obeying your curfew rules. Yeah, we're watching you through your phones. So, it's good to bring back up the SPARS. You could be right. There's a bunch of different ways it could unfold. So.
Yeah, and also one more thing about the 2024 election. It happens on a date with 60 and 40 numerology, and it basically ties back to the October 7th Israel-Gaza war. As that other caller stated, it basically happened on that numerology as well, 60, 40, and it's going to be the 60th election next year, and JFK was assassinated after he won 60.
Just like Lincoln. Lincoln was elected in 1860, JFK in 1960. So yeah, history of 60 and assassination indeed. All right.
Yeah, that's basically all I wanted to say.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Let's go out to Illinois, 708.
Hey, Zach, what's up?
How you doing?
Doing pretty good, man. How about you? Yeah, I'm trying to present this message. Like, I know you kind of time sensitive right now, but it's some very important shit, and I'm just hoping I could like get it in within the time I have.
Okay.
Well, you see how, like, Bible, I know you were talking about the Black Panther has, like, death earlier with his 3 children, which equals 56. Just like, did you know that, like, Africa, before it was called Africa, it was called Alkebulan.
I didn't know that.
And oh, yeah, well, Alkebulan actually equals 56, just like mind control does. And mind control experiments equal mind control, brainwash black people, and 113 in the same cipher. And you ever notice how black people tend to be tied to religion? And you see how Bible 30 equals 33, biblical equals 58, brainwash equals 58, 56, if you spell it out, the word 56 equals 44, which you already know that word applies to black people a lot. And all those are in the same cipher, that reverse reduction cipher. And brainwash black people equals 113 in that same cipher, and 113 has been coming up a lot lately through so many years. And this is something that's been coming up in like the past 20, 30 years more. It's like Michael Jordan winning the championship in the 90s probably has a lot to do with it. And the word brain equals 37. And brainwash. Mind control experiments equals 113, just like brainwash black people does. And have you seen the movie They Cloned Tyrone? It's on Netflix with Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, I've seen it. Again, Jamie Foxx equals 107. He makes his debut in the movie in hotel room number 107 where he's hiding out, or actually it's a motel, but again, that movie, you guys, They Cloned Tyrone, the secret labs under the church, and you gotta go behind the IHS button to find the entrance to the church. So
yeah, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I was watching that earlier today. I just seen it for the first time, and I noticed at the 56th minute, you know how mind control equals 56. 56th minute in the movie is when they actually find that underground laboratory with the mind control experiments. And in the 44th minute, again, you already know, because you're actually the one who told me about the significance between the number 44 and black people. I see that because I've been watching your videos. At the 44th minute is when Jamie Foxx, who on the Jamie Foxx show from the 90s, he plays Jamie King, which equals 56.
Yeah.
And on that show, yeah, right, you already know. Exactly, bro.
Yeah, we covered, because again, we covered all this. I mean, we covered all this stuff when the whole Jamie Foxx thing was going on. So we went into detail on this back then. But indeed.
Exactly, bro. But his name equals 56, and the 44th minute in the movie, he discovers the key card that leads them into that underground laboratory, to where they eventually find out about the mind control experiments at the 56th minute mark in the movie.
Again, yeah, I think if you're trying to explain this stuff to people, maybe just because the 44, you could have brought up how they use the number 44 within a minute, in two different scenes. It's in two different spots, and they bring it up. They're eating the fried chicken, and it's chemically designed so that after 44 seconds, it has the impact on the person who's eating it. And then it's a minute later, they're talking about some music influence, and they bring up the number 44 again. And again, that's how you can see that this number code that we're revealing, they're literally putting this stuff into your news story. They're putting it into your Hollywood film. There's a ritualism to these numbers. There's a reason that so many black star football players wore 44 at Syracuse, and Obama's number 44 years after the Civil Rights Act, and so on and so forth. And yeah, if you haven't seen They Cloned Tyrone, there's a scene when they get in this underground lab and they got these two men beating the living daylights out of each other, and they're playing this song, and then you can see the song that they're playing, and the song's called Kill a Motherfucker. And then they're like, all right, change the song. And then I forget what they change it to. It's hug somebody or something, then they instantly stop fighting and start trying to hug each other. And I you know, when I was in probably middle school, there was a hip hop movie came out. It was called The Show, and there was a soundtrack for The Show. You can look this up. The Show documentary about hip hop from the 90s. The Show soundtrack has like a diversity of hip hop artists on there. But there's a group on the soundtrack called South Central Cartel. And listen to that song and then realize that one of the members of South Central Cartel, his father was in the music business and his father was in the Shy Lights. And then to listen to the Shy Lights and see the way you feel listening to the Shy Lights, like, oh, nice, you're like going to be on a high vibration, life's good. And then put on South Central Cartel, and I mean, you might like that song too, but it's a totally different vibration, and it's just like what it's showing you in the movie. It's like the South Central Cartel song is like kill a motherfucker, and then the other song is like hug somebody. And they know it's real. I mean, Hollywood's just making fun of us now 40 years after the fact, but they know this is what they did with the 80s onwards. You know, Coke was the drug, and then they figured out how to make it cheap and extra addictive and put it in black communities and then bring new laws with it that put people in prison for 30 years if they're caught with crack. And then they marketed it through the whole hip-hop music about, hey, man, it's like playing roulette, but you can get rich out here selling this crack. It's sick, man. I mean, and for it to be in a movie now, essentially just making fun of it. Yeah, go ahead. So.
No, I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off, but like, it really is. You are absolutely right. It's fucking sick and sinister, man. And like, the fact that, like, you ever notice, like, in hip hop, like, I just want to make one more point. In hip hop, you ever notice that rappers are talking about getting the head from girls, and even the girls are talking about getting the head? Oh, let's just get blowjobs, and that's a new cool thing. And it's just like, it happens a lot throughout hip hop, especially nowadays, and this like Gen Y, Gen Z generation. And in Gematria, like, I don't know if I could say like the N word like on your stream, but like, I mean, I'm black myself, just to let you know, but like, I don't know if I could say the N word. But I just want to make sure, like, that N word, brainwashed N words. If you type out that actual word, like, I'm just like, I know you know exactly what I mean, but I'm just trying to make sure, like, I can say that. I don't know if I should, so I know. But brainwash N-words equal 3 of the 4 top ciphers of the same thing as blowjob, brainwash black people. Or brainwash N-words equal the same thing as blowjob, brainwashing. That is 204, 309, and 111. And the one that it doesn't, that reduction cipher for brainwash N-words, it actually equals 105, which of course happens to be the 14th triangular number, and slave equals 14 in that same cipher. I noticed this number, I mean, not just that number, but several other different numbers match up in the same cipher. And that stuff, like, definitely has a biblical attachment, like Bible equals 33. You know, in the Bible, they say Jesus died at age 33. Bible equals 33, of course, that's a masonry number. Biblical and brainwash equal 58 in that same cipher as well. 56, if you spell out as a word, equals 44 in that same cipher as well. And then if you type in brainwash black people in the ordinal cipher, 193 is what you get, and that's the 44th prime, of course. So the 44th prime, and it makes a lot of sense. And if you like move on to that next cipher, it's 85 in that reduction cipher, which basketball equals in the ordinal. And you know, black people love it basketball.
All right. Well, I appreciate all the thoughts. I got to let a few more people get on here, though, because, again, we're going along with the call. So appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Absolutely, bro. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Have a good night. All right. Let's go out to 408. 408, you're on.
All right. Hey, Zach. So I've got a little connection here between Osama bin Laden's dad and the Rangers winning the World Series just last week. So, of course, Osama bin Laden's dad died in a plane crash
on September 3rd in 67.
Leaving
was it what year did he die? Was it 67?
Yeah, 67. That's the day leaving 119 days left in the year.
That's in my
book.
book.
On that date this year, which was the 56th year anniversary of that, the Rangers beat the Twins 5-6 or 6-5 on a walk-off home run from Adolis Garcia, who then would go on to hit a walk-off home run in Game 1 of the 119th World Series to win the game 6-5. And those two games were 54 days apart, and Adolis Garcia is 54. And it's crazy because that game on September 3rd, that was against the Twins, and there's parallels with Twins in New York, Twin Towers, Twin Cities, George Floyd, 846. And that game ended in the 9th inning, and the game against Arizona, which was Game 1 of the World Series, that game ended in the 11th inning. And the same scores. And the same player hit the walk-off home run.
Yeah, good observations.
And then also, let's see if I had any. Actually, there is one more thing. I am in the process of making kind of a long video project on the Rangers winning World Series. I have like a bunch of narratives that I'm putting together. Hopefully I'll have it out before Thanksgiving, but it's going to take a while to edit it and stuff. So when it comes out, I'll let you know.
Okay. All right. Well, keep up with the good work, Evan.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Have a good night. All right. Let's go out to Connecticut, 203.
Hey, what's going on, Zach?
How you doing?
Hey, I wanted to talk tonight about Arnold Schwarzenegger. So basically, I'm just going to it's kind of like a prediction, but I wanted to throw out some concepts relating to him. The whole thing with Trump, I think everyone is probably on the same page that we think Trump's going to probably win the next election. We don't know, but probably. And the reason I think is, if you remember back when he was coming up, he was doing the whole thing with Obama regarding the birther issue and whether he was born in America or not. So my thought is that maybe that there's got to be a reason for that. And ultimately, my thought is that when he wins, his role is to change that law so that he could allow someone who wasn't born in America to run for president, enter Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Sure.
Now, we both know that Arnold Schwarzenegger was the governor of California, and so was Ronald Reagan. And if you think, like, what's the word when the same letters make different words? Arnold and Ronald are all the same letters. And if you say Reagan backwards, kind of sounds like Schwarzenegger. And if you break down the word R and old Schwarzenegger, there could be something to that.
I see.
But also, if you think about the movie Terminator, one of the writers for the movie, her name was Gail Ann Hurd, and her Gematria values are 3 out of 4 of the main ciphers equivalent to Adolf Hitler. And James Cameron is the director of the Terminator movie. And you got the whole like JC, Jesus Christ. And the main character was John Connor, JC. And more importantly is the number 81, is that Arnold's going to be 81 in 2028. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there because it seems a little crazy, but I think people need to put that on their radar. He's been doing the talk show circuit as of late. I don't know if you noticed that. And in one of his talk show interviews, he actually said, change the Constitution if you want me to be president. So this is just something I wanted to throw out there. I thank you for your time and just wanted to put that out there. Thank you so much.
All right. Appreciate it. And somebody in the chat said what I was thinking. Yeah, he's from Austria, like the country that World War I's connected to and where Hitler's from. So, yeah, that would be maybe part of the final unraveling of America as we know it. If you don't have to be an American to run for office. 740, you're on.
Hey, how are you doing, Zach?
Doing all right.
Well, I was thinking about the Matt Ulrich, the death earlier with the Colts.
Okay.
And I got thinking, he was talking about the Ravens. He was talking about the Baltimore Ravens, like early on and stuff. And I've seen it, and they're 7-2, 27 Catholic and all that. Well, Baltimore equals 41. He was 41 when he died. Baltimore Ravens equals 96, right? He wore number 69 backwards. Why are people not seeing this? I mean, I'm really seeing this.
Here, again,
going to happen.
Again,
I got to be honest.
Just to keep it all within Baltimore, again, Baltimore with the alphabetic order equals 95. With the alphabetic order numerology is 41. The Colts are from Baltimore originally, and this year the Super Bowl is on the 95th birthday of the Vatican. Baltimore is about the most Catholic city in America.
Right.
But his death is 95 days before the Super Bowl as well, dead at age 41. So, yeah, it just fits the pattern we've been talking about all year.
Baltimore equals 58.
Right.
Which is Super Bowl 58.
Right. Yeah.
Why can people not see this? And I've been telling everybody, and they're like, oh, no. Well, Baltimore, they're not going to do this. Oh, no. Well, it's going to be this. Well, it's going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. Well, it's going to be this. I tell you what, next year is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals because they're in New Orleans, and Joe Burrow and Cincinnati Bengals.
He won the Billy Cannonball there. Yeah, he won the Billy Cannonball.
Yeah, exactly. So next year is when the Bengals are going to be in New Orleans and all that. And people are so fucking stupid.
We got a commercial break. But yeah, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Buy this car, you'll get girls. Buy this bra, you'll get guys. And we're seeing it so much that we start believing these lies. But the truth is, the makeup they're selling to make you feel prettier is the same makeup you buy to stop feeling shittier about this lie they keep telling you that you are not enough. And what about the movies we watch, all the shows on TV? The more I watch, the more I see I need you to complete me. And yes, love is the answer, love is the key, but if you can't love yourself, how could you ever love me? And loving yourself, what does that even mean? Like massages and selfies and that sort of thing? Because the more I think about it, the more it feels weird. I've always been taught that self-love was something to be feared. I've been taught that arrogance is bad and vanity, it's not good. And even my bracelets are telling me to act how Jesus would. So what should I do?
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. September 2018. Extendivite works in keeping my blood pressure in the normal range. I've been using Extendivite for many years now. May 2018. Great product. I use regularly and I rarely get sick. March 2018. This product has relieved what appeared to be angina pain in my chest and shortness of breath after climbing stairs. I'm quite happy about it. February 2018. My husband, son, and I have been using this product for a few months now, and we have noticed an improvement in our joints and blood pressure. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com. Extensionality with Extendivite.
For millennia, mankind has been searching for answers to the big questions, such as, where did the universe come from? Where did we come from? Why are we here? Are we alone? And just what the heck is the fat watch all about? I can't promise you answers, and neither can the woo prove, but they invite you to join them Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, midnight in the UK, for Freaky Friday, exclusively on Truth Frequency Radio. Rituality, multiverse, quantum mechanics, the occult, and so much conspiracy analysis that it will make your mind melt. Take my word for it. Freaky Friday. It's more than a show. It's the way of life. I'm Stephen Hawking, and I am proud to be a Wookiee.
You're listening to the Truth Frequency Radio Network.
Okay. No hype. No fear.
All right, we're back, True Seeker. Again, we're taking your calls the rest of the way. Last caller got cut off by the break. Somebody said, did you see Flava Flav sing the national anthem at the Bucks game in the 59 jersey? I didn't until just now, but forever I'll associate Flavor Flav with a blowing opportunity. Last year when we were in New York City at Times Square the day before 9/11, it was September 10th, 2022. While we were out there, educating about the knowledge, Flava Flav came through with the naked cowboy, they call him. I guess he's out there usually in his little tiny shorts with his guitar and his cowboy hat. But him and Flava Flav were posing right by where we were. And Flava Flav had a handler with him. And his handler had a big diamond Star of David necklace. Not quite as big as Flava Flav's like timepiece necklaces, but a big Star of David with diamonds on it. And I was trying to ask Flava Flav what's up with their album, what you gonna do when the grid goes down. And he looked at me so crazy, but he didn't say a word. And then his handler took him and they just shoot off in no time. And we started asking him about what's up with their album. And remember that album, you guys, that album's release allowed us to see why Valentine's Day was going to be bad weather in 2021 and possibly blackouts in parts of the nation. And it was. There was blackouts in Atlanta, Houston, Portland, other cities. But and remember that album for Public Enemy, What You're Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down, it has Arizona on the cover, and Arizona's the Valentine's Day state. And that album came out 142 days before the blackouts on Valentine's Day, the day written 14/2. But yeah, I wish I could rewind to that day when we spotted Flava Flav on the corner and see if I could go about it in a different way to see if we could get a response. Maybe he's not allowed to say anything, but you should have seen the way his handler zipped him out of there. He was out of there so fast. So, but it's just sad. It's sad seeing him dressed up in the 59 jersey. It's just, man, I mean, they just got to put a 59 on him, Again, you guys, Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year. Motown in 59, Slave Negro Blues Rasta. It's not an accident. Out of all the different Bucks jerseys they could have thrown on him, it's not an accident they threw 59 on him. Oh, boy. So, let's get back out to the callers. Beverly Hills 310.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, I'm on. All right, so I wanted to tell you two things that really actually is important, and I feel like everybody who's listening right now should really, really listen. So like, there's this thing. If you really want to be free from this tyranny or this system that you call the federal government, Well, you have to do a couple things as well. You can't just like also you can't just go out and protest, and you have to do things through the courts. So it's like this thing called a secured party process, right? And it's like basically you can even like just move in a business sense, like because if you look on your driver's license, your name is in all capital letters, right? So that is because it's a corporation and they look at you as a corporation. And if you look at your state, go on Dun. Do you know what a Dun and Bradstreet is? Dun and Bradstreet is like a business. It's for businesses. You can see like the business credit of all businesses. Every state has a Dun and Bradstreet because they're a corporation. I found this out because I had a court case, right? So I looked up the state of California because that's what it was me. State of California versus my name. So I looked at the state of California. It's on Dun and Bradstreet. That's very interesting. And then it says Gavin Newsom. It says his name right there. It says Gavin Newsom is like the owner or whatever, whatever. But then that's very interesting to me. But I want you to look up someone on YouTube called it's called High Frequency Radio.
Okay.
And he really talks more about that stuff, like, and he really tells people like how to like move in a certain sense. But yeah, like most times it's these things we could fight these people in court, because like it's like most of these cops that do all these stuff are like public servants. So they serve us. We are the public, right? So the thing is, the judges are public servants as well. So you can file or forget a lawsuit. Don't tell a cop, oh, I'll file a lawsuit. No, don't tell a cop that. Tell a cop, I'm gonna file a claim on you. Because if you file a claim on a cop, that is the insurance company that is insuring the cop is gonna be like, okay, this cop probably violated someone's rights, and that's a liability on the insurance. So he's not gonna be a cop anywhere. He can go to anywhere. He's gonna get rejected. He's not gonna go to a different county and get hired. That's what different cops do just because they have lawsuits. They just go to a different county and work. But if you file a claim, they can never work as a cop again. But that's the thing. And the judge can never work as a judge again if you file a claim or a lien on them because they're public servants and they're insured and they're here to protect our rights. So we have to make sure that they're doing their job for us. We have to watch that. But at the end of the day, it's like the federal government, we can fight it through the courts because the Supreme Court is the highest court. And at the end of the day, the Constitution was written off like natural law, right? So natural law, it means God's law. And in natural law, it's like, okay.
I don't think the Constitution was written off natural law. No, I don't think that that's correct.
Okay, I'm not gonna say it was all written off natural law, but like some laws and some bases, like okay, there's a reason why America was infiltrated, right? The federal government was infiltrated by the Jesuits. It was the reason why, but it's still a long game. They still have to play to get everybody because the whole play is they want to turn this into a whole communist state. And then they don't like private property. They don't want you to own anything. That's why Klaus Schwab said you'll own nothing and be happy. And that's the agenda. So I just feel like what we need to do is own businesses and then we use those businesses to buy land. And that's the only way you can that's what I feel like that's how this capitalism system works. Like you can't just work a job. I feel like you have to at least everyone at least should own one business, do something, and then just buy assets with that business. Don't buy assets with your name, And that's just how to move outside the system and move in a certain way that they can't really touch you like that or they can't mess with you like that because you're moving in a certain way, because they created these laws. They can't just give us laws that, okay, like they can't give us a whole system that other people can't benefit off, you know? So they had to make it a certain way where even other people could benefit, but they changed the language. They changed everything. They changed grammar. They changed all the laws. So they made people dumber. No one reads anymore. So at the end of the day, it's like, we don't even read the contracts we sign. And they said, if someone told me if you get a voter's registration card, you're signing some of your rights away. I was like, wow. And they said, even if you were a U.S. citizen or if you get a social security card, you're U.S., you know, they give us that stuff. So at the end of the day, when they give you that type of stuff, they can come take it from you because that's their property. You know, it's not ours. Our driver's license, it's not ours, that's theirs. They can come get your driver's license from you, take it away, you know? But it's like a business. It's not really, you know, they can't really just come take a business. Like, you know, it's a whole business. You can't, it's not a person, you know? It's not an individual. And that's just what I was trying to tell people. And I would like to hear your feedback on that, you know?
Well, I know roughly about the things you're expressing.
Right.
It's like supposedly there's a legal process to escape the way we're bound by the state to their laws if you go through this process, but I've never been able to figure it out. I've never been able to get anyone to articulate clearly enough what you need to do. So I don't know if it's one of these.
I mean, he has a whole like university that just has like videos, and just go on his YouTube channel and just dig in and just, you know, just do whatever. But I know it's an interesting thing for whoever wants to free themselves, you know. And it's interesting for me because one, I actually got into that information because I had a court case and I was facing a felony. I am a felon now, but you know, so I had to like kind of read up on stuff. I couldn't trust these lawyers because these lawyers are part of the system. That's why the prisons are full, and they don't need to tax us to build the roads or build the schools. They can get all that money from the prisons. All that money comes straight from the prison. It's not even us work. No, that's just to keep us enslaved. They can run their whole government just off the prison, and that's what I heard. Because these lawyers are in cahoots, the bar, it's all connected. You feel me? So if you just learn how to like defend yourself in court and know how to like speak in a certain way, they can't touch you. They're scared. Trust me, because I was in that court and my lawyer was eating lunch with the judges and whatever, so I kind of scared my lawyer because I told him about this whole secured party process. He got scared. Okay, so check this out. I went to it was a what do you call it? I had a court. I had to appear in court, and then I was there since 9 o'clock. Right, I got there the earliest. I was the first one. I had to wait till the end, and there was nobody in there to go in and talk to the judge because the judge was so scared that I had a good argument that if anyone that was listening heard my argument, they could implement that, and that's what the judge did not want. The judge didn't want that, so she had to clear the room out first. And then bring me in, and then that's when I was the last person. But that's what I'm saying. These people get scared. Trust me. These people are just not all powerful. They're not like that. You can't look at them like that. You got to look at it in a certain way. Like, we can beat them in a certain way, you know? If we can't beat, because they have all the guns and all this, if we can't beat them like that, then let's beat them at their game, you know? And that's it. I feel like that's just what we should. I feel like just learn a little bit, you know, just dig into a little bit. That's it.
Okay, I'll check out that channel. I appreciate the recommendation. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, you have a good night. And shout out to Amy at Crack Their Code. I saw in the chat, she said, look at how Matt Ulrich of the Colts' death is connected with the owner. Well, look at this. Here's the 4 base ciphers of Baltimore, right? Again, Baltimore equals 95 with the alphabetic order, 41 with numerology, 148 with the reverse alphabetic order, 58 with the reverse alphabetic order and numerology. Again, 4 numbers for each word to the base system. Baltimore is where the Colts are originally from. A Baltimore Colt is dead at age 41, 95 days before the upcoming Super Bowl. Baltimore equals 95 and 41. This man who played for the Colts is dead 148 days after Jim Irsay's birthday, the owner of the Colts. Baltimore, 148. And then the 58 goes with the Super Bowl number this year. Jim Irsay also had a lot to do with Prince's death. And remember, Prince performed at the only Super Bowl where there was rain. He performed Purple Rain. Or, let me take it back. The only Super Bowl that ever rained in the halftime show was the Super Bowl that Prince performed at, where he performed Purple Rain. And that was Super Bowl... I want to go back and double check. Was it Super Bowl 41? Hold on. Was Super Bowl 41 Colts over the Bears? Yeah, so it was Super Bowl. So, and this man who's dead at age 41 was in Super Bowl 41. And Super Bowl equals 41 in Gematria, like Baltimore. But, yeah, Prince, his death was also synced up with Jim Irsay, and Jim Irsay bought his Purple Rain guitar right after his passing. And Prince was 57 when he died, meaning in his 58th year of life. And Purple Rain equals 58. And Vanity died the day of the 58th Grammys. Prince's ex-girlfriend, she was from Niagara Falls. They lit up Niagara Falls purple the day that Prince died. But yeah, the Gematria system, as we've learned it and as we've taught it, you learn these ciphers, you see how the ritual comes together so perfectly. And we've been talking about these patterns all year with Baltimore-related deaths. Every number for Baltimore's in this one. And every year I'm talking about the same thing on August 11th and November 8th too, just these deaths in connection to these 118 dates. Let's go out to the 201 area code. 201, you're on. Hello? Okay, let's try 646 instead, New York.
Hi, Seth. How are you? New York City calling in.
Doing well. How are you?
I am fine, thanks. I don't know if you talked about this before, but I do know you talked about Michael Jordan a lot, especially with everything that's been going on this year with the movie Air and whatnot. 23 has been, the number 23 has been figuring with the number, well, maybe 3 prominent Black female athletes. So you have Serena Williams. She is, I guess, the second most, she won the second most singles titles, and it's 23 singles titles so far. She was only beat out by Margaret Court, who has 24 singles titles. Then you have, I don't know if you noticed, but like a few weeks ago, or I think like a couple of months ago, Simone Biles, she became the most decorated female gymnast of all time with 23 medals to her name. And then you have the sprinter, Sha'Carri Richardson? And she's actually 23 right now. So I thought it was very interesting that the number 23 figures prominently with these female athletes, especially the Black female athletes. And I know you've been talking a lot about Michael Jordan throughout the year, so I just, wanted to put that out there. Or if you want to like expand on that a little more, because I just thought that pattern was very, very interesting.
Okay, yeah, 23, it's a number that relates to human DNA, 23 chromosomes from each parent, so.
Right, and I think there's something that I read a while back where, like, I think the Eve gene or the Eve chromosome links back to, I guess, Kenya or Africa, and there was something going on with the actress Lupita Nyong'o, where they did something with her DNA. I think they tested her DNA, and it turned out to be like really ancient or something crazy going on with that. So I just wanted to put that out there with that 23 number because I just thought it was weird, like all the like prominent female Black athletes right now, like Biles, Serena, and Sha'Carri, they all have that number 23 linked up with Jordan. So I was just like, wow, that's kind of fishy right there.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But that's all I got. All right, let other people call in. Take care.
All right, appreciate it. You have a good night.
Bye-bye.
All right, take care. All right, let's go out to Phoenix. Phoenix, you're on.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello. So, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, I wanted to talk about this year's World Series with the Diamondbacks being in it. The last time they were in it was in 2001, which was the same year that the Lakers beat the 76ers that year, 4-1, which is a Philly connection. This is all going to go together with the Lakers-Phillies championship this year, which I think, and the Cowboys-Jets. It all ties together with it. And then also in 2001, you had the Ravens, which is all in the news everywhere, and versus the Giants, which is a New York team, and they beat them 34-7 with a total of 41. And also the Avalanche that same year, which is Colorado, reference ties like a lot of the stuff in together, beat the New Jersey Devils 4-3. And they're and Colorado's on the 38th parallel, which is this is like all tying together, I promise. And then thing that ties in with Arizona and the Cowboys and all that, and 96, which is the same year Kobe and Iverson came out. The Cowboys beat the Steelers in Arizona that same year, and also that year the Bulls beat the Supersonics. Sorry, that's the 38th parallel, which is Washington, right? They're in the 38th parallel. And in 1996 when the Coyotes came in to the league, and they were the Winnipeg Jets, and they came into the league and turned into the Coyotes, and that's it. And then this is all going in together. And then in 1996, the Yankees beat the Braves, which is in Atlanta, and then also this is all going together. I promise. The Cowboys beat Buffalo in their other Super Bowl 30 years ago in the 30-year moon cycle in Atlanta on 130, and then which they also had Marv Levy as their coach, the Buffalo Bills, which his birthday is 8/3/25, and then that gave the Cowboys, they all tied the Steelers and the 49ers all for 4 championships, so 4-4-4 on all of them. And then, sorry, I had like so much stuff on here. And then in 2008, the Lakers beat the Celtics 4-3, which is, this is all going to go together with the, and the Lakers beat the Celtics, and then the Phillies beat Tampa Bay, which is where the Super Bowl was. And I'm sorry here, I got lost on one of these things. And there's a lot. Okay, and then also in 1993, the Cowboys played Miami Dolphins on the Thanksgiving game, and it was supposedly the craziest game ever. There was snow all over. Dan Marino didn't play because he tore his ACL, just like Aaron Rodgers did this year. And then on the kick to win the game, the Cowboys blocked it. And then Leon Lett, number 78, came and grabbed the football or touched the football, and it made Miami grab the football and win. In 58 on the Cowboys, which were in Super Bowl 58, came in and tried to recover the football, which he couldn't. And then the field judge was number 122, which is Aaron Rodgers' birthday, 12/2, came in. And which field judge, because he was the field judge, equals 83, 47, 187, and 52. And Leon Lett equals 103, 113, 41, and 31. So this is just a lot of the stuff is all lined up together. There's a lot more. I had tons and tons of pages, but that's just some of the stuff I just wanted to let out for more people to look into. I think it's Cowboys Jets actually, and then the Lakers and 76ers this year.
Okay, you called it.
Alrighty.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right. Interesting comment in the chat. Somebody said, did you know that Prince when he was a kid growing up, his basketball team was called the Minneapolis Bryants, and I did not know that. But I've talked about how Prince's death was the year of Kobe's last season. And of course, LeBron won the finals that year on the real King James's birthday after the death of Prince on the Queen's birthday and Kobe's last season. The Lakers originally from Minneapolis. But yeah, I got to look more into this. I got the picture up if you're watching this on YouTube of Prince as a kid in his basketball jersey on the Bryant. It's just like, what? These rituals are deep. Let's go out to our friend in New York. How you doing, New York?
Yeah.
How you doing, man?
What's up, man?
How you doing?
Not as good as you.
Well, I hope not. I don't know. I'm doing all right, I guess, but I'd hope that you're doing better than I am. I just, yeah.
Yeah, man. You can't give up the fight, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I'm
A
not
lot
giving
of
up the
people-
fight. It's just, yeah, just things have been better for me in the past, so.
Yeah, a lot of people been waking up to what's going on, man.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. Indeed.
And this thing going on in Israel opened a lot of people's eyes.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Tommy, as usual, listening, you know?
Sure, and we're almost out of show, but it's always good to hear your voice, and thank you for always tuning in and supporting the work. Thank you.
Yeah. You know, I got a few people that open up their eyes to, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people eventually really believe in what's going on, you know?
Yeah, that's good. Well, thank you for always spreading the word, too. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, one love, man.
Indeed, one love. All right, friend. Always great to hear your voice. We're out of
Yeah.
show. Thanks for taking us out tonight.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. You have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
Take care. Okay. Yeah. The TFR show is over. We didn't hear the music because the audio is just not working right. But yeah, I think we'll leave it there for now. Thank you to the super chatters. Again, 13 Serpents gave us 10 at the beginning of the stream. One Asian mom in Thailand gave us about $11. Thank you very much. Fabian Livingston chipped in 5. And one Asian mom said, appreciate your hard work and dedication, Zach. I appreciate that. Good to know we got supporters in Thailand too. And then Fabian Livingston gave us the tip on Matt Ulrich, which I appreciate. And then Rick James gifted a Gematria subscription. What's up, DK?
Hey, Zach, what's going on?
You know, just doing the show.
I just got home from Sweet Lady's house, so I haven't heard even 1 minute of the show, so I don't know what the topic was about, but I remembered something that I forgot last week. What did you ever figure out what the connection is between Trump and Batman, and why he's calling himself Batman and all that? What's the significance of that?
Well, he's born into wealth and from New York City. I mean, the parallels start there. I'm sure there's more.
Okay. So, have you seen Matthew Perry's memoirs? The book he wrote?
Oh, he was called himself Matman? I saw a little bit of that.
Yeah, chapter 11's called Batman, and then before he died, all he was putting on his Instagram was pictures of, like, from the Batman cartoons and stuff.
And saying, I'm Matman. Yeah, I saw that.
So what do you think? What's that all about? Why are these guys doing that?
I mean, you can speculate. Do you have a good idea why?
No, I was wondering. I mean, I'm not going through it from the numbers, and I know you are. So I was just trying to kind of like logically put it together. Like,
well, here's just the parallel I can draw from right now. Again, Skull and Bones, 33rd episode of Batman. They bring up Skull and Bones and how Bruce Wayne's grandfather founded Skull and Bones at Yale. And Skull and Bones is modeled after the Bavarian Illuminati. Bavaria's got that Gematria 54 like his age of death. So that's the one thing I can draw right now just about his numbers and where it might fit in with Batman. But I'm sure there's a lot more to it.
So I was trying to think that Batman, like, was there ever a thing where Batman was faking his own death, or like, what, you know, what is the more like simple conclusion we can draw from it? Because obviously, you know, most people aren't going to be able to draw any gematria conclusions from it. So I was like, what are they trying to say here to the regular sheeple? Like, what are they trying to tell us? Why is this guy Batman now too? You know, like, what's going on?
Yeah, I'd have to think about it more. I don't know.
Yeah, that's all I had. I just popped in. I just got home literally like 5 minutes ago, so I looked and saw that it was 9 o'clock, right about my time. So I'm like, I might as well call in and say that.
All right. Well, I'll think more about it. Appreciate it.
Okay. Talk
All
to
right.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Yeah. Later, DK. Okay. He's keeping it short and sweet tonight. It's weird that you just think there'd be other people calling into the show. There's like people making YouTube videos challenging me to a debate. If you guys saw that, so I was challenging me to a debate, and I showed up in their live stream, and then they wouldn't let me on the live stream. I was like, and then they keep up the video. It's like, what? Doesn't that just show how fake you are? You're challenging me to a debate. I show up, and then you won't let me on to debate. I mean, come on. People always leave in comments, how do I contact you? It's like, I do a call-in show every Wednesday night. Why don't you call in on Wednesday night? But, yeah. Shout out to Logan Thomas again. Thank you. Thank you to the Super Chatters. Somebody's calling from the 201 area code. 201.
Hey, Zach, what's up?
Doing the show.
So I did you get the email that I sent you with the quantum calculator?
I didn't see your email. Which email address did you send it to?
GematriaEffectNews.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, so I announced a new Gematria calculator without like pop-ups or anything like that, and it runs on locally on the computer, and it has all the old ciphers and stuff like the old cipher names and features and whatever. I named it Quantum Calculator because of the organic side. But I wanted to share. I also wanted to ask you, because now I do 3D animation. So if you want any art done in like 3D animation or like, you know, a CGI or something like that, I can do that for the book or whatever if you ever need that. Yeah, I found this really interesting little tidbit of information. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but look up. It's a very short clip. But it's a commercial that talks about Gematria from the University of Phoenix. It's called Masters on Your Mind.
I know. I talked about it when it was brand new. We covered it when it was brand new. Where everything's 11?
What?
Everything's 11 in the ad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we covered it. That was a new ad for Phoenix University during the time of the Masters golf tournament. And we definitely covered it.
Did you see the on Simple Truth TV? There was a short clip from Matthew Perry from the show Friends. It was like 30 seconds. That his death was foreshadowed in Friends. There is a joke in there that's like, oh, he's my drowning moron. You know, did you see that?
I'm not sure that I did.
Yeah, so in the show, she says, hold on, let me play it. He says, I'll be the one who dies first. And then and then she calls him her drowning moron, and then of course he dies of drowning. So that was like a little piece of predictive programming. But yeah, that's all I had for today. If people could subscribe to my channel, Truth Does Not Exist, because I lost a bunch of subscribers again that YouTube keeps taking away. It's really annoying. But yeah, that's all I have for today. Great show.
All right. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, hope that you enjoy the new calculator.
Okay. Yeah, I'll find it in the email and I'll promote that in your channel. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
All right, later.
Have a good night.
Okay, Truth Does Not Exist. You guys know him. He's been around for a long time. Young guy in the community. Still going with that YouTube name, even though I don't understand it. But yeah, we'll check out his calculator too. Sounds like it's just a refresher on the calculator the way it used to be. And thank you very much, Modoc Roughstock. I appreciate that. He says typical struggles on the ranches, but we appreciate your energy and effort. Appreciate your generosity. And thank you very much. Let me check in with the chat. Anything else in the chat that you guys wish I would have covered tonight that I didn't, or in recent days? Seems like the news cycle's been actually pretty slow in recent days, despite the things going on in the world. So you thought it was a great show tonight? Okay, glad you thought it was a great show. Laura says, yeah, it has been very slow. Yeah, you think there'd be just more that they'd be reporting on with all the stuff they're stirring up right now. Appreciate it, Juski. Thank you. Well, we know, I mean, that's what we're showing on this channel, is just how the news is stage managed each day. It unfolds ritualistically day after day. Ritual after ritual. Shout out to John Mendoza again. Appreciate it, friend. Here, with regards to the Matt Ulrich death, Peyton Manning's birthday is the 83rd day of the year. It's March 24th. Brady's birthday is 8-3. Peyton Manning, the 83rd day of the year. For a long time, they were the faces of the league. But of course, he was teammates with Matt Ulrich, who's dead today. Today's 229 days after Peyton Manning's birthday, which is the 50th prime number. Manning did also win Super Bowl 50, but Ulrich wasn't on that team, and Manning did win that with a different team. He won it with the Broncos. He went from the Colts to the Broncos, like John Elway. Go back and look at who the other key people were on that Colts team. Tracy Chapman wins the award at age 59. Man, I remember when I was younger, she had that song, Give Me One Reason. My sister liked that song a lot. It's my sister's favorite song for a minute. Give me one reason to stay here and she'll turn it back around. That's how it went. But yeah, isn't that funny? They wait until she's 59, huh? Let's see. Tracy Chapman wins CMA Award for Fast Car decades after song debut. So they waited until she was 59 to shout out to the man, shout out to Mr. KO. He's still out there listening. He came out and pounded pavement with us in Seattle. He must be listening based on what he just texted me right now. I haven't talked to him in forever. Hold on. Okay. Let's look at this Tracy Chapman thing here. Born March 30th, 1964. Give me one reason. That was 95, huh? Man, time flies by. Woo, I couldn't remember what year it was. 95, okay. "223 days after her birthday, she wins. Big number in 2023. What year did Fast Car come out? "1988", so she's winning an award for a 1988 song? 35 years later? Huh. In 2023, she became the first black woman to score a country #1 with a solo composition when Luke Combs covered her song "Fast Car." You know, a part of me just wonders about the 223 days, because remember what it says in Revelation. Those who claim to be Jews but are not, and their name is the synagogue of Satan, which equals 223. And again, from my research, you know, the true Hebrews or Jews of the Bible look more like Tracy Chapman. Yeah, Amy says she has a blog post up. Here, let's check out Amy's website, cracktheircode.org. Let's see what else she noticed. CMA Awards on a fitting date this year. Tracy Chapman's got the 201, huh? Let's see. Yeah, the 35 years. I remember when Aretha Franklin died, her death had a lot to do with 35, and then Madonna gave the speech for Aretha at the VMAs because they both got the Detroit connection, and then Madonna mentioned that her music career started with $35 in her pocket. So I don't know her song "Fast Car." I don't think I know that song. I know "Give Me One Reason." I don't know who Luke Combs is either. I see. You can like the post. Okay, I liked it. All right, but great work as always, Amy. I appreciate it. Uh-oh, breaking news. Steve Wozniak hospitalized. Remember, Steve Jobs died 56 days after Wozniak's birthday at age 56. Steve Wozniak hospitalized on 11/8/118. That deadly number. He's 73 right now. We know 73 goes with sacrifice and ritual sacrifice. It says Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak was hospitalized in Mexico City on Wednesday. A source from the organizers of the World Business Forum, an event he attended in the country's capital, told CNN en Español. He fainted minutes before an event. Let's see. Gotta go back and see. I remember the ritual with Steve Jobs. His birthday is August 11th. Isn't that crazy? And then this happens to him on November 8th. The 2118 dates. Huh. "89 days after his birthday." That's the 11th Fibonacci number. 24th prime number. Apple has that Gematria 23. That's why we said at the beginning of the year that we expected the Apple stock to perform well this year, and it has. So yeah, it could be a big loss connected to the Apple brand at the end of 23. All right, yeah, we'll keep an eye on that story, see where it goes from here with Steve Wozniak. But as always, we'll be back tomorrow, Truth Seeker. And again, illustrators, the email to send your submissions to GematriaEllustrated@gmail.com. And again, we'll have some rewards for the top selections. If you missed yesterday's video on the Kobe book, check that out. We'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. We'll be back tomorrow. It could be an eventful day. Anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, 119. Big things going on in Israel, the land of the 119. We just had the 119th World Series and on the 119th day of Bush's age. So we'll see what they got for us tomorrow. See you then, Truth Seeker. Till next time.